And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Yonkers versus Ponce. Step forward, please.
20-year-old dietary aide Melissa Yonkis is suing her one-time blind date, 21-year-old student Richard Ponce, for the cost of a motel room and several in-room movies.
The two of you, according to what I've read, were introduced to each other socially through a friend and began communicating both on the phone and the internet. Is that right?
Yes.
And then you decided it was time to meet. And for some bizarre reason that I'm sure someone will explain to me briefly, you decided to have your first meeting at a motel. You arrived at the motel and you decided to put the room on your credit card.
That's correct.
You went into the motel to hang out. According to you, you got disgusted with something that happened in the motel because he was going out to visit a friend, and you stormed out. Then later on, you got a bill for 2 nights' stay at a hotel, because he evidently decided to stay that night and an extra night, and for some movies that he had rented. You want him to pay you back for the 2 nights at the motel and the videos. Is that what this case is about?
That's correct.
He says that you stormed out, that somebody, he assumes it was you, vandalized his car, which caused him to get stuck in the motel for an extra day. Is that right, sir?
Yes.
Just tell me why, briefly, you decided to have your first meeting in a motel.
Well, I'd worked late that night, and I live 45 minutes away from the defendant, so by the time I got to where he lives, it was already late, so there wasn't really much else we could do. We both live with our parents, we couldn't go to each other's houses, so we decided to go to a hotel. We had talked about it for a long time, and that was the most convenient day, so I decided.
So what time did you arrive at the motel?
I think it was around 10:30.
And what happened, sir, that caused you to want to leave?
Well, the thing was, I was just not really into her when I met up with her.
You didn't like what you saw?
Well, I went out with a drink with my buddy, which I invited her to come out with me. I came back to the hotel, and I realized that my car was vandalized.
Yes.
My tires were slashed. The car wouldn't start. I'd called a friend who was a tow truck driver to fix. This car was a loaner. This is not my car. So I had to get the car fixed before my friend had found out it had been vandalized, or else she wouldn't trust me ever again with the loaner whenever the emergency case might be needed again, you know.
Why did you stay at the motel 2 nights?
Well, my tow truck driver, the friend that I had was a tow truck, was out of town, and he told me he'd been in town.
Well, Mr. Ponce, you know, you're making this up as you're going. You live in that town, do you not?
I live in the area.
You live in the area. Go home.
Well, I couldn't leave the car there.
Why not? It wasn't gone anywhere. It was already vandalized, had flat tires, and it wouldn't run. So what do you mean you couldn't leave it there?
Well, I couldn't leave it there. I just don't trust leaving a car just vandalized like that. I'm sure a tow truck would just pick it up, a car like that, like, you know, it wasn't even mine. Then I'll lose track and see where it's going to go. So I stayed there the night. I waited until my friend came to pick it up. He fixed it, and unfortunately,
let me see all your receipts,
I don't
sir.
have any evidence or receipts because of the fact that I paid him to fix the car, and it was not like he's not working in a mechanic shop.
You are so full of yourself. You are so full of it and yourself. I begin to zone out because there is nothing there of substance, nothing truthful. I don't even have to listen to it. I mean, I can fantasize about a whole bunch of other things. I'll listen to you. Listen, the first day of the motel you pay for. Do you understand?
That's
your mistake. How
never
much did the
disputed
second night cost?
Show
me your bill.
Okay. With the movies and the extra day, it cost me $221.
For the second night in the movies?
Yeah, altogether it was $360.
Did you watch any of the movies with him?
No, I left after the first night.
$221. Listen, consider yourself lucky. He's a real loser. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $221. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
This car business, I don't even know where it came from.
She had vandalized my car.
He was the one who pursued me. I don't know what he's talking about. He wasn't into me because he totally was. He made all the first moves, everything.
Just pretty much overconfident with herself. She thought just, like, you know, with her looks, she can get everything, you know.
I'm just happy she saw through that whole lie.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Chandler versus Chapman. Step forward, please.
Teacher James Chandler is suing the ex-wife of his girlfriend's son, 21-year-old collections agent Trista Chapman, for wrecking his car. James says Trista took the car off-road and broke the axle.
Mr. Chandler, the defendant was driving your car and wrecked it.
That's correct, ma'am.
And you want her to pay for it.
Absolutely.
You didn't give her permission to drive your car.
That's correct.
How do you know her?
She is my girlfriend's son's ex-wife.
Girlfriend's son's ex-wife.
At the time they were estranged.
Now, I'm going to make a guess that the son's name is Brian.
Correct.
Because she says she had Brian's permission to drive the car. So you tell me how that came about and why you don't think you're responsible for the damage to the car.
I had asked Brian to use the car to go to a doctor's appointment.
Were you separated from Brian at the time?
Yes.
So you called Brian. And who was Brian living with?
His mother.
And the plaintiff?
Yes. I had asked him to use a car to go to a doctor's appointment. He had told me, let me call you back. Let me call my mother and ask her if it's okay. He called her, called me back.
No, you don't know what he said to his mother.
No, I don't know what was said.
But he called you back and said what?
Yes, it is okay for you to use the vehicle.
Fine.
He came, he picked me up. I dropped him back off at home. And from there, I went to my doctor's appointment.
Where was your doctor's appointment?
In Apple Valley.
Did you go alone?
Yes.
So you drove alone in the car?
Yes.
Both going there and coming home?
And when I went back, I picked up my friend to give me a ride from Brian's house to back home to where I live.
So after you finished with the doctor's appointment, you picked up a friend, and the friend was supposed to do what?
She was following me over to Brian's house to pick me up from there and take me to my home. Because
So you're driving a car, and your friend is driving in another car?
Yes.
So you're always alone in the car?
No, I had a friend with me in the car.
What friend did you have with you in the car? And where did you get her from?
She was the friend that was coming with me. When I went to pick up the car.
Pick up what car?
When I went to pick up the car from Jim's house,
just a minute. First, this is Jim.
Yes.
I thought Brian came and picked you up.
He picked me up from my home to get the car. But this was after the doctor's appointment when I went to go to my friend's house for her boyfriend because she doesn't have a driver's license for her boyfriend.
Now we're getting someplace else. Just a second. Ms. Chapman, you're going to get the story straight. I want you to understand that. You had Brian's permission to take the car and go to a doctor's appointment and then come home.
No, I had told him that I had to pick up a friend to get my own ride back home. And he said that was fine.
So you picked up a friend after your doctor's appointment, and your friend was driving in your car with you.
Yes.
And where did you go with your friend?
We went back to Brian's house.
Fine. So now you drop off the car. Where was the accident?
On the way leaving my friend's house when I had picked her up. And they were following me. I went through the desert and I hit a rock.
Went through a desert?
It was a shortcut through.
You took a shortcut? On a dirt road?
Yes.
And you hit a rock?
Yes.
And that's when the whole axle broke on the car?
Yes.
So explain to me, Miss Chapman, why you are not responsible for the damage.
Because he's saying that I did not have permission to use a car. I did have permission to use a car. When the accident happened, I called Brian and I told Brian what happened. He said, do not worry about it. I will pay for it.
Well, Brian's not here. Brian's not here. You're driving the car and you had permission to drive the car. Is that right?
Yes.
Why aren't you responsible?
Because he had told me that he was going to pay for it, and I said that was fine.
So sue him.
Yeah, he should sue him. He shouldn't be suing me.
You sue him because you have to pay for the damage. And if you have somebody that said to you, don't worry about it, I'll pay for the damage, then you'll be standing on that side and Brian will be standing on this side. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Let me see the bills to fix the car.
I also have photos of the damage.
Can I see it, please?
Yes, ma'am.
What is this lost wages for November 19th?
I'm a substitute teacher, and I had to take a day off of school and turn a job down in order to go retrieve the car. So it cost me $120.
Get that from Brian. By the way, just for my own information, did you speak to your girlfriend and find out whether Brian had ever called her?
No, I did not, and she wouldn't have given permission to use the vehicle anyway.
Well, you don't know that.
I know her.
Probably not.
He had permission to use the vehicle to go to and from work because she had already damaged their other vehicle. In fact, 2 other vehicles.
Would you describe the interior of the car, sir, when you went to retrieve it? Because I see you have cleaning and deodorizing here.
Yes, ma'am. There was a broken cigarillo butt in there and French fries all over the floor and dust from the desert. The exterior of the car was also covered in dust.
Talking about the interior of the car.
It was covered.
Did you stop for lunch?
Yes, I did.
Well, what'd you leave the car a mess for inside?
I was going to clean it before I took it back to him, but obviously I couldn't clean it if there was damages to the car, and a tow truck came and picked it up.
Well, why couldn't you clean it out before the tow truck took it?
Because I walked up to my friend's house to call the tow truck for I could do it, but somebody had called and said that a car was banded in the desert, and the police came and the tow truck came and towed it before I could get back to the car.
It's not a difficult case, Mr. Chandler. You have a judgment in the amount of $624.74. That's everything that you're suing for, with the exception of your day's wages. Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, the story that was told in court was entirely different than the story I got.
He couldn't hear the story from me, so therefore he could hear whatever he wants.
I was told that she was driving with a friend and heard a noise and pulled over to see what it was and hit the curb at 10 miles an hour.
I just think that I'm happy that whatever happened, happened, and he stays out of my life.
The attitude I got was, take me to court. I'm not going to pay for this.
Yes, he could take me to court. I don't care.
I have allowed her husband to use the car to go to and from work.
The whole thing is that he says I did not have permission to use the vehicle, and as far as I knew, I did have permission to use it.
He loaned the car out to somebody else without my consent or knowledge.
The person that gave me responsibility to use it should pay for the damages.
I think justice is finally been served.
Production worker Diane Wofford is suing her ex-boyfriend, welder Ron Cox, for the return of her belongings. Ron is countersuing for the return of his truck.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Now, this is case number 200 on the calendar in the matter of Wofford versus Cox. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats.
Miss Wofford, you and the defendant, according to your complaint, had an off-again, on-again relationship for about 7 years.
Correct.
The last time it was off again, it is your claim that he came into the house and took all the property, half of which was yours. He says he got sick and tired of being tossed out with the clothes on his back over the 7-year period and decided that he was going to take the property this time because he paid for it and it's his. He's got a counterclaim for a truck that he purchased for $750 that he says was put in your name because he had some driver's license problems and you had the truck towed onto your property and he wants his truck back. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So my question is, why are you bothering me? Together on and off for 7 years, not married. You see, we don't have courts here for those people who choose just to live together. We have courts for people who are married and divorcing. You know, the property is either community property or it's property that is divided by equitable distribution. But you expect me to go back and figure out who bought what? Is that what you want?
No.
No.
So what do you want?
I would like half of what was given, or half of what was ours.
Who bought it?
We bought it together. We shared all of our monies together.
Did you have a joint bank account?
No, we did not.
You mean you would see a TV and you would say, well, the TV is $500. Here's $250 and here's $250.
That's correct.
Show me. No, the burden is on her.
Okay.
Just listen to me. The burden is on her.
Okay. I would be more than glad to show you proof of receipts, but when he came into my house after the day he broke the restraining order, they took all the receipts. They took the contents of the file came. So I have no receipts. I have pictures of what the TV looks like. I have warranty cards on it.
Did you
That's
go
all
into
I
the
have to offer
house
you.
after there was a restraining order filed against you?
I thought I was illegally served. I even called the courts. It was the next day. I went back and only took what things were mine.
Tell me what you took.
I took my TV, my camping gear, my skis, and things that my parents have given me over
Like
the
what?
years. Tin cans that we collect,
What else?
and my clothes. VCR that a friend of mine owed me $20, and he gave me his VCR instead because he didn't have the money to pay me back.
What else?
That's all I can remember.
Okay. Now, how long did you live in this apartment together?
About 5 years.
Is that right?
Yeah, a little over
Very
5
good.
years.
Did you sleep in a bed?
Yes, we did.
Did he take the bed?
No.
Did you sit
was
on the
too big.
couch? Shh. Did you sit on a couch?
Yes.
Did he take the couch?
No.
Did you eat on a table?
Yes.
Did he take the table?
Yes, he did.
Kitchen table?
Yes.
Did you take the table?
Yes, I just purchased it.
Just a second.
Oh.
Took the table. Take the chairs that went with the table?
There was 2 chairs with it.
2 chairs. Now let's go back to the living room. There's a sofa.
Yes.
Is there any chair in the living room?
There was one chair.
Did he take the chair?
Yes, he did.
Is that right?
The recliner chair that my mom gave me, yes.
Where did she
Gave us.
Did
My
his
mom
mother
never gave
give-
you anything.
Shh. Come on. Swafford. Did the recliner chair come from his mother?
Yes.
Is there a cocktail table in the living room?
Yes, there was.
Okay. And?
He took that also, which was a Christmas gift.
Just a second. Did you, you know, Mr. Cox, when I ask you what you took, you're
I'm
supposed to
sorry.
answer me, sir.
I'm a little nervous, that's all.
I don't care if you're nervous or not. You remembered your skis and you remember the $20 VCR. When I ask you what you took, you're supposed to tell me. How many pieces of furniture did you leave?
Everything that was hers, the couch. She has another kitchen table upstairs. All the 4 chairs that go to that kitchen table.
Just a minute. Is there another kitchen table in the house?
Yes, there was.
And did he leave it?
Oh, yes, he did.
Good. What else?
That was hers.
Oh, just a second. What else did you leave is what I want to know.
Her microwave, the microwave stand. All
Okay,
the
just a
dish-
second. Was there a microwave in the house?
Yes.
And did he leave it?
Yes.
You see, what I'm trying to get at,
I
Miss
see.
Wofford, is the following. I have absolutely no intention of wasting my time in going through a bunch of ridiculous items of property. You now have a house. Your house has a bed to sleep in, a table and chairs to eat off of, a couch to sit on, right?
Yes, correct.
You have a microwave, and I assume an oven. Oven is kind of hard to say, but you have a microwave to warm things up, and as far as I'm concerned, that's as much cooking as any natural person has to have. So you have a perfectly livable condition, and I have no intention of going through items like a table and 2 chairs. You got a table and 2 chairs, you got a table and 4 chairs. You got a couch, you took the recliner chair.
Okay, may I say something?
You
There was
ready?
personal items of mine that he took.
Like
Whenever
what?
When he took his clothes out of the closet, instead of looking, he just gathered them up like this. There was a ski jacket that was bought for me from my sister. The skis that he took that were given to me by my sister. There was several clothes, my fishing pole, my tackle box, the coffee table that was built for me by my son's friend. And here's a statement from him, from the agreement that him and Ron had on it.
Because I paid for it. That's why the agreement's.
No, that is not.
Well,
That
maybe
is-
why don't you explain why we got another coffee table?
Listen to me. Listen to me.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Now I want to go back to the truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Who purchased the truck?
I did.
we did.
Ask her
Just a second, just a second.
Ask her who the owners were that I bought it from. She don't even know.
How much did the truck cost?
I paid $700 for it.
Where did you get the $700 from?
I made payments as I was working. Each payday, I made payments on it because I couldn't pay $700 up front.
We made payments
Just a
on
second.
it.
Just a second. How did you make payments on it?
Because my boss.
How?
Oh, out of my check.
Check or cash?
Cash.
Now, the rest of the money, sir, went for
Food.
rent and
Rent.
gas and electric, and
And
I
then
assume that you paid those things together.
We did.
Is that right?
My checks usually paid all the bills and stuff because my checks were bigger than her amount because at the time she was only making minimum wage.
Okay. So your checks went to pay the household bills, and her checks went for what?
To get through. She had a direct deposit. In the last 6-8 months, the year that we were together, her money was her money, and mine was mine. More or less, my money got us through, and I had to beg her for
That
5
is not true whatsoever.
That
That
is
is not.
true.
Everything we had together was paid 50-50. He paid half the
Is it-
rent. I had paid half the rent.
Show me.
Electricity.
I have some bills to show you
Show
that.
me.
I have no.
Did you pay your rent by check?
No, we paid it by cash. And can we
Okay,
get back
listen to me. Listen to me. Hey!
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Can we talk about the restraining order he broke?
No.
Ma'am, what about the...
No.
And later today,
This is her signature, 213. No deposit. Price of the puppy, $500. No deposit. What are you, a Swiftie? I mean,
No,
what's
ma'am,
wrong
that's
with
her
you?
signature, ma'am.
No, it isn't.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Diane Wofford says ex-boyfriend Ron Cox stole her belongings when he moved out of their apartment. Ron says Diane stole his truck.
Do you have a car?
Yes, I do.
What kind of car do you have?
I have the Toyota pickup and I have a Chevy.
No, what kind of car do you
I have
have?
a Chevy Cavalier that is
All
broken.
right. Now, what year car is it?
It's a 90 Chevy Cavalier.
The time that the truck was purchased, were you driving the Chevy Cavalier?
Yes.
And what was Mr. Cox driving?
He wasn't driving anything at the time because he doesn't have a driver's license.
Bird, would you give me the title, please?
Can we talk about the restraining order he broke?
No.
Okay. Can we talk about his
You could talk
alcoholism?
about you could talk about that with your children, but I'm not interested in it. I'm just interested in getting this. Sorry. I'm just interested in right now the truck. Oh, okay. I see that this truck was purchased in two people's names. Is that right?
I purchase.
Is that right?
It is at the time,
All right. Now, Mr. Wofford, let me explain to you something, sir. While there is no equitable distribution or community property involved in people living together, when people choose stupidly to live together for 7 years or 5 years without benefit of marriage, I'm going to take the easiest way out for a court in determining who owns property. And as far as I'm concerned, this property is owned 50-50. Do you understand? You chose, for whatever reason, to put her name on the title.
I made that mistake.
You made a mistake. If you made a mistake, why should I have to suffer for it by extending this case any longer than I have to? Now, you paid $700 for the truck?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right? Correct. Very good. Now, Miss Wofford, are you driving this pickup now?
Yes, I am.
What happened to your Chevy?
It's broken. The
So you're driving it?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, correct.
And do you drive it to work?
Yes, I do.
And I assume you want to keep it?
Yes, I do.
Very good. Then you will pay him on his counterclaim,
Okay.
$350. Your claim is dismissed. On the counterclaim, I'm awarding you $350, sir. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Sign over the title.
What about all my stuff? What about my personal belongings that he has taken out of my home?
Sign over the title. Do we have a pen?
Your Honor, may I say something?
No.
Ma'am, what about the...
No. You're getting a truck, Miss Wofford, that in all probability you had nothing to do with paying for, and you're getting it at a bargain price. Do you understand?
I guess.
Do you understand? Worth at least as much as the fishing pole you say that he took. And that somebody's skis that... Did you sign it, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Now, Bird, would you hand that over to Miss Wofford? And then, Bird, would you do me the last favor? Sure. Would you show them out?
Parties are excused. You may step out.
This man came into my home, ripped me off. I have a restraining order about his alcoholism problems this man has had.
A whole relationship was abusive, both physically and mentally.
He's a nothing. He's a no good. He'll always be a no good.
19-year-old student Allison DeGrace and her mother, Barbara DeGrace, are suing Allison's former landlord, contractor Stephen Rossi, for causing her to move out after only 1 day. Allison says Stephen crossed the line.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Your Honor, this is case number 260 on the calendar in the matter of DeGrace versus Rossi. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Grace, you rented a room from the defendant. The tenancy lasted 1 day. You want your money back, and in addition to your money back, you want some punitive damages you claim for invasion of your privacy. Mr. Rossi said you left of your own volition, you broke the terms of your tenancy, and you don't get any money back. Correct?
That is correct.
Okay. What kind of place did you rent to her, Mr. Rossi?
Room inside of a privately owned home.
You're the owner.
Yes.
So you rented her a room in your house with kitchen privileges, I assume?
Correct.
How much did you charge her in rent?
$325.
And what other money did she give you?
First month's additional for utility expenses.
How much did she give you in total?
$575.
Had you advertised for this room?
Yes.
Where?
Buffalo News.
Are you legally able to rent in your home?
Correct.
You are legally able to do that?
Sure.
She signed the lease?
No.
How come?
There was no written contract.
Why not?
Didn't feel the need to.
If you have a tenancy, then you have a contract. It says what your rent is, what security deposit, what it's for, that it'll be returned, what you're going to do with the security deposit, put it in an interest-bearing account. I mean, you want to do all these...
There was no mention of any security deposit, Your Honor.
Well, what was the other $250 for, sir?
Money that she chipped in for the utility expenses the first month.
$250 for your utilities?
Correct.
What utilities cost you $250?
There was no mention of any additional security deposit.
Mr. Rossi, had you ever rented a room before?
No.
Never?
No.
Okay. Who advised you legally?
No one.
That's what I figured. Okay. Now, Mr. Grace, what date did you move in?
January 1st.
When had you seen the room?
3-4 days before it.
And you spoke to Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Who else lives in the home?
His girlfriend.
Just the two of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How old are you?
19.
Your mother. Sit down. Yeah, what happened on January 1st when you moved in?
He helped me move my stuff into the apartment, and he was acting very strange.
It was a room.
I'll get to that.
What apartment?
His apartment.
I thought it was a house.
No, it's not.
What is it?
It's an apartment that he is renting.
It's an apartment in a building that he's renting?
No, it's just an apartment, like a house, but he's renting.
From whom?
From his landlord.
Is that true?
It's a privately owned house, Your Honor.
Do you own it?
I don't own the house, no.
That's what I asked you before. Did I ask him that question before?
That's what you asked him.
And what did he say? He said yes.
He said, yeah.
You are a renter.
Yes.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Rossi?
Self-employed contractor.
How long have you been a tenant?
6 years.
In the same place?
Correct.
Did you have permission of your landlord to rent?
Yes.
Show me.
I don't have anything in writing.
Really?
No.
What's your rent?
How much do I pay for rent?
That would be the question, Mr. Rossi.
$470.
Plus what?
Utilities?
So your rent is $470, you're charging her $3 1/4.
Correct.
Go ahead, Mr. Grace. You say he's acting weird. He is weird.
He was not charging me $3 1/4. He was charging me $350.
Okay.
I paid him up front the day before I moved in for $250 for utilities, and the day that I moved in, I paid him $350 for the first month's rent. He refused to give me a receipt saying that I paid him $350. He said for tax reasons. Then he showed me and my father all these gas bills that he owed. He did not say that he couldn't pay them. He just said that they were too high. And that night, I fell asleep that night. He came in my room. His pit bull first, he didn't tell me he had a pit bull. His pit bull burst into my room and started attacking me, started jumping all over me, biting my arms.
If a pit bull bit your arms, madam, you would know it. Mr. Grace, I don't want you to make up any stories
It was
to
under
embellish.
the covers.
You understand?
Okay, yes.
If a pit bull bites you all over the arms, you would have major scars, or some scars.
I was under the covers.
Oh, okay, so his dog came into your room, and it scared you.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Then he came in my room smoking pot. He got the dog off of me, and he sat down next to me, and he started talking sexually to me. And he...
That's a lie.
No, it's not. He's the liar.
You felt uncomfortable there, is that right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Prior to your moving into his room, where had you been living?
At my father's.
Does your father live with your mother?
No.
How long had you been living with your father?
For about 3 years.
Why did you leave your father's house?
I wanted to become more independent.
Were you working?
No, I was going to school.
Full-time or part-time?
Full-time.
Who was going to be paying your rent?
I was.
If you're a full-time student, how are you going to pay your rent?
I am on SSI.
What's the nature of your disability?
Depression, anxiety.
And you take medication for that?
Yes.
You were going to try to make it on your own?
Yes.
Didn't work out. And the next day, you said, I'm going back home. Now, when you left, where did you go?
I didn't go back home. I called up my mother, and I was crying.
Okay, and so did you go to your mother's house?
Yes.
And you stayed there?
Yes.
Is that where you're living now?
No.
Where are you living now?
I'm living back at my father's.
Okay, good. Everything okay?
At my father's, yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Rossi, aside from the fact that you illegally rented a room in a place where you were a tenant and you have absolutely no proof of the fact that your landlord gave you permission to do that, I'd like you to tell me what were your out-of-pocket expenses for the 24 hours that Mr. Grace lived in your house? Is not an answer, Mr. Rossi.
Out-of-pocket expenses while she was there for 24 hours?
Yes.
There were none.
Perfect. Then if she left after 24 hours, why didn't you return her money to her?
Because I had to spend time to try to gain access to get myself a new tenant. If I was able to
what
have...
kind of nonsense did he just say? What kind of gobbledygook did he just put together?
I'm not catching it.
You're not catching it. You're not catching it.
You are
Mr. Grace.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You don't look like an unintelligent person. A little slimy, but not unintelligent.
And later today...
Tell me what they were.
It was payment for money that I loaned.
That's not what I asked you. That is the conclusion.
The circumstances?
If you don't remember, say I don't remember. Remember that I will test you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 19-year-old Allison DeGrace claims former landlord Stephen Rossi caused her to move out after only 1 day. Allison says during her first night there, Stephen entered her room while she was asleep.
Mr. Rossi, My question was, you illegally rented a room, she moved out, you had absolutely no loss as a result of her moving out. If you were aware of the fact, Mr. Rossi, that when she moved in, that she was on medication, a fact that was evident to me, then why didn't you say, look, this is not working out. She's unhappy. I'm going to give her back her money.
I wasn't aware that she was unhappy, Your Honor.
Listen, she moves all of her things into your house. She comes there with her father?
Correct.
With her father. I mean, if you're an intelligent person, you don't look like an unintelligent person, a little slimy, but not unintelligent. You understand that there's a certain dynamic here going on. This was in what month? January in Buffalo? It gets very cold, but I'm sure your brain thought out enough in Buffalo in January to understand that there's a certain family dynamic going on here. So if it didn't work out and she was unhappy, she was stressed, whatever it was, you say, here's your $600 back. I'm not out any money. It didn't work out, especially since you were doing something that was in violation of your tenancy. You probably fell behind in some bills, and you probably figured you could get somebody to shore up a little bit, and you did, and you got a $600. You managed to pay off the bills you were behind paying off, and you say you can't have your money back. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $600, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Everything he said was a complete lie.
The girl's on lithium, she's on Prozac, she's only 19 years old.
I'm not on heavy medication.
I think she moved into a place, she moved out the following day, it's her loss.
I'm not crazy.
I think the girl's nuts.
25-year-old student Melanie Johnson is suing her ex-boyfriend, Mason Tony Wendling, for the return of property and for unpaid credit card bills. Tony is countersuing for damages to his car and for ruining the slipcovers on his couch.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 360 on the calendar in the matter of Johnson versus Wendling. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
Ms. Johnson, you and the defendant lived together for a brief period of time, is that right?
That's correct, Your
How
Honor.
long?
3 years.
According to your complaint, when he put you out, because he put you out of the house that you had been sharing, he kept certain property of yours. The property was a washing machine that had been given to you by your mother.
That's correct.
And in addition to that, you claim that he owes you for some credit card bills where he used your credit card several $100s worth. He says that you can have your washing machine back, but you have to give him the $250 that he put into the washing machine. In addition, he says that the only thing that he charged on your credit card was a $60 pair of shoes. The defendant has a counterclaim. He says that you damaged his car at some point and that you shrunk his slip covers when you washed them because you were a poor laundress. Is that right, sir?
Yeah, she don't know how to do laundry.
Well, that's unfortunate. I'm sure she has attributes other than laundry.
Yeah, she does.
Good. So get over the slip covers. Now, when did you stop living together?
It was August the 5th, the day after the Brickyard 400 in Indianapolis.
All I heard was August the 5th. The rest of it I didn't hear.
Oh, I'm sorry, August the 5th.
Did you say anything after that?
Yeah, I said it was the day after the Brickyard 400. That's how I remember, but that's really not important.
August the 5th. Mr. Wendling, I'm going to get you a counterclaim first because I like to dispose of things in a neat way. The slip covers she laundered when?
In July. It was right before August 4th.
But you were still living together when she did the laundry, and she
Yes.
laundered the slip covers.
Yes, ma'am.
And she didn't do that on purpose because she was angry with you. She just laundered the slip covers.
No, she didn't. I asked her not to do it. I told her that if she did wash it and dry it, that it would shrink and you wouldn't be able to put it on there.
Okay. And she did it anyway. Now, when was the damage to your car?
The car was damaged on November 4th,
Of 2001?
2002, day before voting day.
I thought you broke up in August.
We did. We have kids together.
Just August 5th, 2002, you broke up. So you mean the car was damaged after you broke up?
Yes.
Really? What happened to his car?
Well, he claims that I
No,
drove
you
it.
tell me. Don't tell me what he claims.
I didn't damage his car. I took it down to the gas station and came right back and did
What
no
were you
damage
doing
to
driving his car?
I asked him if I could drive it. My car was in the shop, so he said that it was fine to drive his car.
No, that's a fib. That's a fib that you're just telling me, Miss Johnson. I don't like when you fib to me.
Can I tell you how it happened?
Sure. I tend to believe you, Mr. Wendling.
Okay, on November 4th, day before she goes to school, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, etc. We have a 2-year-old boy together. Plus, she has a 4-year-old son from her previous marriage. I'd go over to her house because I just don't like anybody to babysit my son.
Tell me what happened with the car.
Okay, anyway, make a long story short, the day of the 5th, we were arguing about the washer before she went to school. I didn't want my son to hear us arguing. We went out there, she kicked the quarter panel on my car, which she gets, you know, mad and crazy all the time. So anyway, that didn't matter to me. I went back in the house, she went to school, me and my sons went to sleep. I'm a block mason, and I work real hard every day.
You went to sleep? Come on.
Yeah, I went to sleep on the
Tell
couch.
me, let's get to the
She
car.
came home, I was asleep on the couch, got mad, tried to wake me up. Her car was not working. She took my car, took it to the store. When she brought it back to her house, there's bumpers that separate the grass from the concrete. They're about this high. I have a Firebird. They're low to the ground. She ran up on it.
I've done it myself.
Okay, and I have
You
pictures.
go over and it goes over fine, but when you try to pull back, everything comes off the car. Is that what happens?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is that what happened?
Yes.
So wasn't that easy?
Well, I didn't kick his car.
I'm not talking about kicking it. Wasn't it easy just to say, that's what happened? I went over a bump.
Yes, but
and when
I didn't
pulled
kick
back,
his car. I don't want you
he's
to
not,
think I'm
just a
vindictive.
second. He's not suing you for kicking his car. He says that you took the car, you went over a bump, you pulled back, the bumper came off the car, right? And you
That is
did
true.
that.
Yes.
How much is it to fix the bumper?
$1,930.
What year Firebird is this?
92.
Oof. Let me see the estimate.
Here's a picture of it. And the estimate. And the kick dent is involved in that 1932.
Is or is not?
It is. And she's wrecked all my cars, Your Honor. Every car that I've owned, she's wrecked.
All right, I can find the fender, because that you're not interested in, right?
Well, yeah, I'm interested in it.
You just told me a minute ago that you
Well,
were going to
she's suing
forget it.
me, so I'm going to sue her back.
Shh, just a second.
I mean, what's right's
3
right.
hours painting is 2 hours and 85. Okay, now let's talk about this washing machine. Your mother gave you a washing machine as a gift?
Yes, she did.
Did Mr. Wendling put down $250?
No. He says he did, but he did not.
Tell me about it.
Well, his birthday is in the end of June. He acts like the whole month of June is like his birthday month, so he does. And he didn't give me any money at all in June. We were arguing in July, and he didn't give me any money in July. So I don't know where he's getting that he gave me any money whatsoever.
Well, could you please tell me when the washing machine was purchased?
It was in June.
Who went to purchase the washing machine?
I did, and I put it on my mom's credit card.
Can I see proof of that?
I don't have it with me. I asked her for it, and she didn't give it to me. So.
Oh, I don't have it.
Because she said, I'm tired of talking about this, is what she said, because we've been
Well,
going
that's
round and round about this.
Well,
so
that's ridiculous.
that's what she
Can I
said.
say something?
Sure.
Like I said, I was a block mason, so I got concrete all over my clothes. I've had 3 washers on my back porch for months because they're broke. Okay, she puts 12 loads of clothes in a 6-load washer and
What does that have to
expects
do
it.
with it?
Listen to me.
My-
What date was the washing machine purchased?
I have no idea. I didn't go and buy. All I did was come home and there was a brand new washer in my. But I wanted to go buy a $100 washing machine from the appliance store that didn't cost no $600. I don't need no computerized washing machine to wash clothes.
You don't wash clothes. She washed the
No,
clothes.
I wash the clothes.
But I
I've
wash
been doing
slip
her
covers.
laundry ever since I've had the washer. I bring her clothes to my house, her and her sons and my son's clothes. I wash them, dry them, fold them, and bring them back to her.
What a great service.
Yes, that's what I
don't
think.
know. I don't know, Miss Johnson. I wouldn't ask for the washing machine back.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, he sounds
I wouldn't
like
ask
a really
for the
great
washing
guy.
machine back. That's a great gig.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Melanie Johnson says ex-boyfriend Tony Wendling owes for the return of property and for unpaid credit card bills. Tony says Melanie damaged his car and shrunk the slip covers to his couch.
Okay. How am I supposed to know what your mother paid for the washing machine?
I don't know. Like I said,
Well, I don't know.
asked
If you
her.
don't know, I don't know. How am I supposed to know that?
I don't have anything, so.
Well, where did you buy it from?
At the Home Depot.
Where did you think you were coming to today? You come to a court, you say, listen, you go to Home Depot and you say, I lost my receipt. I bought this washing machine here a few months ago. Could you please either give me a duplicate bill or something to show what the washing machine cost?
Well, I don't have a car, and he won't let me drive his car anymore after the incident.
Well, I know. She wrecks them.
So you don't know how much the washing machine was?
Yes, so it's $300, around $300, a little bit more with tax. You can call my mom and ask her.
I'm not calling your mother. When you come to court, you're supposed to prepare your case. You say that he put things on your credit card. Where are the bills for that?
I don't have that either.
What do you have?
I have pictures of some of the stuff he has.
I don't want to see pictures. I'm asking for two main things. I need a bill for the washing machine, and I need a copy of your credit card statement because you said he put $600 worth of stuff on your credit card, and you don't have your credit card statement. No, so you have nothing. So your case is dismissed. Now let's get to your counterclaim. I think that she drove... Put your hand down.
Sorry.
Put your hand down. I find that she drove your car. She drove your car without your permission, and she damaged it. And they want $1,930 to fix it. $230 of that is to take out the dent in the... You said she kicked your car.
Yeah,
well, initially...
boost they got.
Speak not. Initially, you said to me, I'm not interested in kicking. I'm just interested in what she did to the bumper. So I have deducted $230, leaving $1,700, which I am awarding you, sir, on your counterclaim. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, he was portrayed as a really nice guy, and really he's not a nice guy at all.
Everybody has opinions.
He tries to make himself to be like this great person, and he's really not.
I do her laundry every day.
As far as him taking my laundry and doing it, he doesn't do that. He just tried, and everybody was like clapping. That is such a lie. He doesn't do that.
Fold it and bring it to her. It's like, you know, what more could you want?
There's a lot of bitterness and anger, and I think that's what it's over.
Stuff happens to everybody. I mean, yeah, you get angry.
I probably need to move like out here and let him stay back in Indiana so we can be like really far apart.
Don't let girlfriends drive your cars.
Don't get involved with men that are 10 years older than you.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Damaris versus Harrington, Adinolfi. Step forward, please.
20-year-old homemaker Shannon Damaris is suing her former friends, 19-year-old salesperson Holly Harrington and 22-year-old car salesman Tony Adinolfi for the return of her cat, Smokey.
Okay, Mr. Damaris, you had a cat. Your cat's name was Smokey. Something happened, you had to move from where you were living, you couldn't take the cat with you. You asked the defendants, who were friends of yours, if they would take care of your cat for a while. That while turned into a long while, and now you want your cat back, and they say it's not your cat anymore. It's our cat.
Right.
Right, okay. So I need some facts. When did you get Smokey?
Smokey was given to me about 3 years ago.
What do you mean about 3 years ago? Let's get a month and year.
November of '99.
By whom?
My boyfriend's brother.
As a kitten?
They had him as a kitten, and then they gave him to us, yes.
But you didn't get him as a kitten?
No, I didn't get him as a kitten.
When you say he was given to us, you were living with your boyfriend at the time?
Yep.
So the cat was given to your boyfriend?
He was given to us as a couple, yes.
And then you got custody of the cat when you separated?
We never separated.
So you're still together?
Yep.
Oh, that's so interesting. When did you give the cat to the defendants?
I had given the cat in her custody in the middle, probably around the 15th of February.
And when did you ask for the cat back?
I asked for the cat back in June.
That's a lie. Let's say you asked for the cat back 5 months later. Where were you for 5 months?
I had asked for the cat in June because on my birthday, which was July 21st, is when I attempted to actually get the cat. But
That's July.
Yeah,
so
I had
that's 6 months
attempted
later.
in June to get the cat. I said I'm going to be taking the cat, and she just kind of put her head down and walked away.
Fine. So then you didn't do anything in June. So the first time you tried to get the cat back was in July, which was 6 months later. Where had you been for 6 months?
I had been living with my parents. My landlord at the time, I had to move in with my parents, and the landlord didn't allow it because we had 3 pets already. And when my dog died, that kind of gave me an opportunity to bring another animal in, and my landlord allowed that at that time.
Where was the boyfriend?
He's incarcerated.
When did he become incarcerated?
On January 24th of 2002.
Is that why you lost your apartment?
Yep.
Okay. How many animals do you have now?
We have 2 cats.
Did you have those 2 cats before?
Those are my parents' cats.
Well, where are you living now?
I'm living with my parents.
And these 2 cats that are your parents' cats, have they ever lived with Smokey?
No.
They have not?
No.
Why would you want to take this cat back now?
Because
now we're talking about almost a year later.
The reason it's a year is because they dragged it out, basically. I attempted to get. I told them in June that
Listen to me. July is when you first. That's 6 months. We're not talking about bringing home a sweater or 4 new tires. According to the defendants, it was supposed to be a short-term arrangement for a month, and you were also supposed to give them some money to take care of the cat, which you never did. Is that right?
That's correct.
No money, no vet bills, no food, no anything else. But more importantly, you're treating this as if it was an inanimate object.
I care very much about my cat.
I don't care about you. I don't care about you. You have a cat. You disappear for 6 months. You're out of the picture for 6 months. That animal has bonded with a new family. And now you say a year later, I want my cat back.
I attempted to get my cat back, and they dragged
6 months later.
No, about 4 months later.
No.
There was no agreement of how long. The thing is, I couldn't take care of the cat at the time, and me and my friend came together, and she said, I will help you out.
Who are you?
Can
I say something,
Who are you?
I'm her witness.
To what?
To what happened about the agreement and everything.
She wasn't even there, Your
She
Honor.
wasn't even there.
She was there.
No, she was not.
Come on. When were you there?
Your Honor, technically I wasn't there for the agreement, but...
Sit down. Then I'm not interested in technically. If technically you weren't there, this is a court. This is technical. You're suing for $500. You're not getting the cat back. How much is the value of the cat to you?
He's part of me is what he's the value of it.
Part of you. When something is part of you, like a child, then you don't give it up for 6 months.
I didn't give it up for 6 months. I attempted to get my cat, and they dragged it out. And I offered them money.
You're not following, madam. What you did was tell me the cat came into their possession in February. You told her in June you were going to be coming for the cat, but you didn't go there until July.
Yes,
That's 6 months.
I went there several times. And I visited with the cat and everything.
Just a
and
second.
she never mentioned
Just wait a
ever.
second. Did you go to visit the cat every day?
Not every day, about twice a week.
Hmm?
About twice a week I'd hang out over there.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Sure it is. Case is dismissed, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He was my cat, and I did attempt to get him back several times.
When we first got him, he was very neglected, not taken care of.
They are the one that has dragged it out this long, not me.
She definitely neglected the animal. She's got previous histories of neglecting her animals. I hear she can't even take care of her own child, never mind her animals.
Don't trust your friends.
Farm owner Connie Koch is suing 17-year-old Matt Regensburg, 16-year-old Brad Buban, and 16-year-old Luke Fagan for damaging her car when they drove it without permission.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Now, this is case number 356 on the calendar in the matter of Koch versus Ringenberg, Buban, Fagan. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Which one of you gentlemen is Brad? All right. So what I want you to do is stand right over there. That's it. Now, Miss Koch, according to what I read, you had a friend, Kathy. Is Kathy here? You are his mother.
Correct.
Brad's mother. Kathy was visiting you at your house, and she at some point wanted to go home and check on her kids. So you said she could borrow your car to do that, as long as she brought it right back. Correct?
Correct.
Kathy goes home, and she decides to let her son drive the car back to your house. So far, that's what you did. You let your son drive the car back to her house.
To pick up my car.
I don't care what it was.
Not to check on my kids. To get my car so I could have it back at her house.
Whatever. You let your son drive the car back to her house. Is that right?
To follow me, to have my car.
Whatever. He could have followed your car. He could have been driving your car.
He did.
So who was driving her car?
He did. I was in my car. He drove her car, followed me back to her
Did you
house.
understand what I said? Try to pay attention. I said you could have let him be the driver of your car, and you drove her car back. But you didn't do that. You let him drive her car. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, at some point, he decides to stop off and pick up a couple of friends. Is that right, Brad?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
And there goes the trouble. Because by the time your car was returned to you, much later on, it was totally undrivable. Had blown a transmission, and some other stuff happened to the car. There's where we are. And I want you gentlemen now to be very, very brief, because I've read all of your answers. Not to worry, Miss Koch, we're going to get to you. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe it's necessary, and maybe it won't be necessary.
Okay.
Because, you know, my credo is keep it simple, stupid. That's what my father always said to me, so I'm going to try to keep this as simple for myself as possible. In 30 seconds or less, you tell me how her car ended up in the junk pile.
I went and picked them up, and we went back to her house.
Went back to whose house?
Connie's house.
All right, so you went back to her house, but you had stopped off to pick up these two gentleman.
Yes, Your Honor.
Where was your mother?
She was at a home.
Your mother was home. That's interesting. I thought she said she was in her car. All right, but we'll let that pass for a moment. So you stop off to pick up the two guys. And what happens after you pick up the two guys?
We went to Connie's house, and I took the keys inside.
Look at me.
I took the keys inside, and I put it on the table right in front of her.
And then what were you going to do?
And I went back outside, and we were stuck there.
What do you mean we were stuck there? What did that mean, you were stuck there?
We didn't have a ride nowhere.
Well, didn't you realize that once you drove the car back to Connie's house, you weren't going to have a ride anywhere unless, of course, your mother, who says she was following you.
I thought my mother was there, but she went home.
But she went home. She was just driving around. Maybe she had to mail a letter or something. Yeah. Go ahead. So now you're standing outside and you have no ride home. What's next?
Look
at me.
Matt went inside.
Matt, raise your hand. Matt went inside.
And he said he was going to ask you for the keys.
Who did you ask for the keys?
Connie, but she was sleeping, so I just...
Oh, now, so you asked her, but she was sleeping. Yeah. Now, I want you to explain to me how you... Please don't laugh at him. Bird's going to laugh at him. So you were going to ask Connie for the keys, and you asked her for the keys, but she was sleeping.
Yes.
So what did you do? Did you do telepathy?
I just grabbed them and went outside.
So you had no permission to have the car. Is that right? Now, when you got outside, what did you say to your two friends?
Let's go to Polk City and...
Excuse me?
I asked Brad to go drop me and Luke off in Polk City and go back out there, but...
But what?
We ended up staying at my house for a while. And
Who?
Us three.
How long?
An hour, maybe.
And then what happened?
Me and Luke drove around for a little bit, got some gas, and the car stalled.
Okay, where'd you leave him?
My house with a few other friends.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, let's understand this. You had no permission to have the car, is that right? Is that right?
Yes.
And you had no permission to be in the car, is that right? After you had dropped it off?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what about you?
Nope.
No what?
No, I didn't have permission to be in the car.
Who was driving?
Matt.
Did you ever drive the car?
No, Your Honor.
Now, did Matt tell you that he didn't have permission to have the car?
He told me we did have permission.
He did?
Yes.
What did he say to you?
Well, me and Brad were sitting outside of Connie's house, and he went inside and got the keys and comes out and says that, you know, let's go. And he didn't say that he had permission, but, you know, he said, let's go. And
Oh, so he didn't say he had permission. Is that right?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You knew. Now, tell me about your car. What happened to it? They just say it stopped.
It was 70 miles away when the transmission blew from my home.
70 miles?
And then I came back home and I filed a police report. And they...
Just tell me what the damage was to the car. That's my question.
Well, my damages are $3,490. There's a towing charge, there's attorney fees, and unused insurance, but...
I just want to see what the damage was to the car.
The matter is all I need.
How old are you?
16.
You're 16. Oh, how old are you?
17.
7. And you?
16.
16. Oh, this makes my life so much easier.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You listen to me.
Her keys were put on that table.
No, listen
Somebody
to me.
came in that house.
Oh, yeah.
Those keys came back
Madam,
on
you
that
are
counter.
a liar.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Connie Koch says teenagers Brad Buban, Matt Regensburg, and Luke Fagan drove her car without permission. Connie says the boys damaged the transmission, then abandoned it 70 miles away.
You know how I like to keep things simple? I want you to move over there. I'd like you to step up here. Your name is Kathy what?
Boobin.
Step up here. Let her stand next to her prize. Son says that you didn't follow him to her house so that you could give him a ride back. And I believe him, because that's what they say. Why didn't you do that?
I just picked up my car so I could leave Connie's when I felt when I was wanting to go home.
Well, just 1 second, madam. She didn't give your son permission to drive her car.
She gave both of us.
No, she did not. No, she did not.
Back.
Excuse me?
Someone's got to drive my car, which is me.
No, not you, which is him. Don't you get it? That's what I said to you before. If somebody's going to drive a car that doesn't belong to them, it's going to be you, not him. So he drives your car, and you drive her car.
That's probably how it should have been done.
Right. Because but for that, this whole thing wouldn't have happened. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, everybody knows 16-year-old boys and cars don't mix. They're fools. And when they have friends, they're bigger fools. Now, you should have anticipated that. You didn't. Therefore, I am not holding these two boys' parents responsible. I'm holding you responsible for the whole thing. Because I'm holding him responsible for the whole thing. You want to go after them? Sue him. If he came before me, you'd be totally unsuccessful. But for your actions, you're the adult. He never would have had his hands on the keys to her car. You got it? Now, if the boys had gone into her house and you had nothing to do with that, and each one of the boys told me the same story, he got the keys, he drove the car with them, he was also a passenger who knew what was going on, and you had nothing to do with it, all three of you would be equally responsible. But in this case, you were the one who controlled the keys to that car. If you had done the right thing and said, follow me back, I'm taking Connie's car, you drive my car, when we get to Connie's house, going inside, I'll be right out. You put Connie's keys someplace where Connie can get her keys if she's sleeping, you come outside, you say, now drive me home.
That's what happened.
No, it's not what happened. You were not driving Connie's car.
He put him on the table.
You listen to me. You were not driving Connie's car back to her house. He was. He should have been driving your car, not Connie's car. You want to give a 16-year-old permission to drive a car and to pick up friends? Let it be your car, not your friend's car. She was doing you a service. Judgment for the plaintiff against this defendant only in the amount of $3,000. And if you think you can prove a case against the parents of these two boys, you go ahead and try. You will be unsuccessful here because you had the ability, you're the adult, you had the ability to ensure that her car got home safely, and you chose not to do that. These parents didn't. They had no idea what was going on. Only you did.
Her keys were left on her counter.
Only you did. You had the ability to see to it that her car was returned to her house
It was
safely.
returned in her driveway.
No, it wasn't.
And her keys were put on that table.
No, listen
Somebody
to me.
came in that house.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
took those
you
keys
can tell
off
me,
that table.
Put
Your
that
Honor.
down. You can tell me anything that you like, and I'm telling you, you had the responsibility to see
And
to
I
it
did
that
it.
yours.
And it came back. Those keys came back
Madam,
on
you
that
are
counter.
a liar. Your
I'm not
son
lying.
says
There's
you
nothing to lie
are a
about.
liar. I believe you're a liar. Your son just told me you're a liar. He just told me that you never followed him back to her house to drive him home because they were there stranded. And you said, I followed him back there, which is a lot of baloney. So you're a liar, you're responsible. Judgment for the plaintiff against this defendant only, $3,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm not a liar.
All I know is my police report says that Kathy admitted to knowing that they were taking the vehicle.
It put a strain on Connie because she was without a car.
I'm still without a vehicle.
I carted her around. I tried to be very helpful.
I've gotten nowhere. They were said, please don't press charges. We'll get it fixed. We'll get it fixed.
I was a good neighbor. She's been a good neighbor. It's what neighbors are supposed to do.
Helen Adams is suing 19-year-old construction worker Alex Contreras and his mother, maintenance worker Ana Maria Asensio, for damage caused to her car when she hit their dog. Alex and his mother are countersuing for emotional distress.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 345 on the calendar in the matter of Adams versus Contreras Asensio. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats.
Miss Adams, on what date did this accident happen?
December 16th.
What time?
Approximately 10:15 p.m.
What kind of a car were you driving?
A 93 Saturn.
According to your complaint, the defendant's dog ran out into the middle of the road. Your car hit the dog. A lot of damage was caused to your car you want the defendants to pay for.
Yes, ma'am.
Unfortunately, the dog was killed, not immediately, after the dog was hit by your car. And they say that you were probably going too fast. They are counterclaiming for the pain and suffering that they felt when their dog died and for the value of the dog. What kind of a street is this?
It's a residential. It's a very narrow residential street.
Do you live in that neighborhood?
No.
What were you doing there?
I had taken some paperwork to my friend that lives around the corner from them.
Is there lighting in the streets?
It's not a lot of lighting, no. It's not as bright as a busy street.
Tell me what happened.
I had left my friend's house. I pulled around the corner, and it was approximately 6 houses down. This dog ran out in front of me. I don't even think I had a chance to hit my brakes when I hit it. It ran between two cars, and I was there.
Were there cars parked on the side of the street?
Oh, yeah. It's a very busy street. It's a tight street.
So there were cars parked and the dog ran out in between the cars?
Yes.
What was your dog doing out without a leash?
I wasn't there at the time, but...
okay, so you don't know. Who was, who was there?
Well, my neighbor, my guest neighbor, he was there. He saw everything what happened.
Just a second.
Sorry.
Were you there?
No.
Well, who was there?
My witness, him.
I was right there.
Tell me what your name is.
My name is Gerardo Cruz.
Mr. Cruz, were you taking care of the dog?
No, I had got it was in 10:15 p.m. Excuse me.
You answer my questions.
Okay.
First, put your hands down. Were you taking care of the dog?
Yes, I was.
You just told me no. Were you taking care of the dog or were you not taking care of the dog?
Yes, I was taking care of the dog.
Okay. What was the dog doing without a leash?
Well, he followed me out to the street. It was approximately 4:50 between 4:30 and 5 o'clock when that lady
I don't care
ran
what
over the
time
dog.
it was. First of all, what kind of dog is this?
It's a Rottweiler.
So it's a big dog?
Yeah.
Yes.
What was this big dog doing in your care without a leash?
Had gone out to the street.
For what?
To get a football across the street.
You went out to go get a football across the street.
Yes.
And?
And I picked it up, and the dog followed me accidentally. I guess out to the street. And I was talking to my elderly neighbor that lives right in front of my house when I saw the dog coming towards me, so I told him, go back. So he was going back. Approximately, the car was coming 40 to 50 miles per hour when the impact.
Sit down. Did you leave him in charge of your house?
He's my guest house.
He lives
in my house. Like I got a guest home.
He lives in the back of our house,
my house.
in our guest home.
So he was in charge of your dog?
Well, we're not there at the moment.
At the time, he was the only one that was there and seen everything with my neighbor.
Let me hear. Listen to me. When you weren't home, where did you put your dog?
On the backyard.
And his house is in the backyard?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if he goes out and the dog is not chained or anything, he's just in the backyard?
Yes.
He let the dog out?
Yeah.
He let the dog out?
Yeah.
So? What do you want from her? You got a big Rottweiler. He walks out to get a football, goes across the streets talking to somebody. He's not paying attention. He doesn't know whether he's a foot or horseback. He lets your big dog come out, and your dog gets hit by a car.
How come she drive 45 or 50 miles per hour?
You weren't, madam, let me explain something to you. You weren't there. You weren't there. It's his fault, not her fault. It's his fault. And if he made up a story that the car was speeding, that just to make himself feel better because of his negligence, the dog got out of the backyard and the dog got hit. Dogs are stupid. They're not smart. Dog doesn't say, oh, I could get hit by a car if I ran out between these two cars. It sees somebody that they knew walking out, followed him. He doesn't turn around before he crosses the street and say, oh, I left the gate open. The dog followed me out. I better go put the dog back inside or get a leash. No, 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 no. He goes over to talk to a neighbor, right? Very smart, very intelligent. Let me see the damage to the car, please.
Here's the estimate. I already paid for that. That's been paid for the radiator.
What did you do after the dog came in contact with your car?
After I hit the dog, I got out to see if the dog was okay, and the dog got up and took off running. So I asked him to stay with the car, and I followed the dog. Well, the dog jumped into a yard, and there was a gentleman, nobody here, but there was a gentleman standing in the front yard that didn't speak Spanish. And I said, is somebody here?
Didn't speak English.
I mean, I'm sorry, only spoke Spanish. Didn't speak English. And a little girl ran in the house and asked some lady to come out who spoke English. So I said, is that your dog? And she said, yes. I said, well, I just hit it, and I said, I've got damage to my new car, and I said, I'd like to have it taken care of. At which point, she said, okay. We walked over. She looked at my car, and she said, that's not my dog. That belongs to my father-in-law. I said, okay. So I said, can I have his number? They gave me a business card, and I said, okay. They said, call tomorrow. So I called the next morning. He wasn't there. So I called for several days, and finally I went over there and I spoke to this gentleman right here, and he threatened me with bodily injury.
My God.
Me and my household.
That's a lie.
That's not a lie.
That's a lie.
Your Honor, I had a witness. I had a witness that's in the hospital.
Listen to me. I'm going to give you a chance to respond. So I don't want you. Pay careful attention where you are. You're in a courtroom. You're not outside. She's going to testify. Then you're going to have a chance to rebut what she says. All right?
I had a witness. He's in the hospital. He
I'm not
today.
interested in seeing
And then here's a
witness's
letter
statement.
from my mother that I was on a
I'm not
speakerphone
interested
and they
in a letter
threatened
from
me.
your mother.
Okay. They just threatened me over the phone, too. At
Go
which
ahead.
point, my mom's very ill, and I can't put my mom through that, so we moved.
Damages are about $3,000 to the car. It was done?
I also missed the hospital appointment 2 days later because my car was out of commission that I was supposed to have a
Should have
surgery.
taken a cab. Don't be ridiculous.
It's
Don't
in
pad it.
Hawthorne.
Don't.
I'm
listen to
disabled.
me.
I have no money.
Listen to me.
Okay.
Don't pad it.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Genius over here doesn't call the vet immediately, doesn't call a hospital immediately to take the dog over. He lets the dog bleed to death for 6 hours.
And later today,
She jabs his stick into the truck a couple times. She said something about, my man stayed all night with you last night. I was like, your man ain't stayed all night with me. I have no clue what you're talking about or who the F you are.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Helen Adams says Alex Contreras and his mother Ana Maria Asensio owe for damage to her car when she ran over their dog. Alex and his mom say Helen was driving too fast.
I don't think that you were going 50 or 60 miles an hour down that street. I think that he said that just to make himself feel a little bit better because he's really responsible for the dog getting killed. Put your hand down.
I was going to say so.
I'm not interested. If I were interested, I know what it means. I didn't think you had to go to the
but you're
bathroom,
saying he's
sir.
lying. I was there
Listen
too.
to
I'm
me,
in the
sir.
same neighborhood.
Listen to me, sir. It's his fault that the dog got killed. He left the gate open and allowed the dog to get out. If he were careful and left his house and closed the gate, then the dog wouldn't have had an opportunity to run out between two parked cars and get killed. It's his fault.
Their dog jumps the fence.
I'm
sorry.
That's not what he said happened. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'm just curious about something. The dog got back to your house. Did you take the dog to the vet?
Yeah, it was too late. So we had called sanitation animal control. And by the time it was, I don't know, by the time, I wasn't there, man, to tell you the truth, but no, I got there 4 or 5 days later because she was.
Got there 4 or 5 days later?
Because she was.
Quiet. When you realized the dog had been hit, did you call a vet immediately?
No.
What time did you get home?
Around 10.
Around 10 o'clock at night. Where was the dog?
He was over there bleeding.
So according to this gentleman, this happened 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The dog was still alive when you came home at 10 o'clock. That's what you said?
Bleeding.
Yeah, of course, bleeding from 4 o'clock in the afternoon, according to this genius.
To tell you the truth, I don't know if he was dead or not because I don't take care of the dog. Only my son, and you know them, because I don't.
Pay careful attention to me. He testified that this happened at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He walked out of the yard, leaving the door open. The dog came out, the dog got hit, right? The dog is bleeding. Genius over here doesn't call the vet immediately, doesn't call a hospital immediately to take the dog over. He lets the dog bleed to death for 6 hours. I mean, this is somebody.
I know.
I mean, do you have children?
Yes, I do.
Don't let him take care of your
No,
children.
my children, I take care of
No,
them.
don't let him take care of
No,
your
no.
children. Good.
I'm
Judgment
not
for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all.
All right, guys, excuse, you may step out.
The problem was the dog was big. If I'd have been going faster, it would have busted my windshield because he came up on my hood.
She got up, oh, whose F dog is this? Who's F the F owner? Who's this? Who's that? Come on.
They said, no problem, we'll take care of it. And then they just, all of a sudden, everything changed after they saw the damage done to my car.
She knows she's lying. Obviously, she's lying.
They threatened me with bodily injury to me and my household.
She said I threatened her. That's the first lie. If anything, she threatened me.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Collins versus Solis, step forward, please.
Account manager Alicia Collins is suing her neighbors, construction supervisor Ronald Solis and his wife Ray Lynn, for vet bills resulting from a dog attack. Ronald is countersuing for a false, dangerous dog charge.
Ms. Collins, you and the defendant are neighbors.
Yes.
And you have a dog, a little dog, and they have a little dog. It is your claim that their little dog came on your property, bit your dog, bit you, and when you picked up your dog, blood from your dog got on a sweater. You want the Solises to pay for the vet bills.
Yes, Your Honor.
You did not seek medical attention.
No, Your Honor.
And the cost of the sweater.
Yes, Your Honor.
Solises say that they should not be responsible. They didn't see this whole thing happen. They don't know what happened. And in addition, they are counterclaiming, they say, because you called animal control and they had to go through a whole process with regard to their dog who was ultimately declared not a dangerous animal, and they want you to pay the expenses that they incurred going through this process. How long have you been neighbors?
I just bought the house in September of this past year.
And what kind of a dog do you have?
A Yorkshire Terrier. She's 4 pounds, 8 ounces.
And when did this incident occur with the Solis' dog?
September 10th.
Shortly after you moved in?
Yes.
Were you at home?
Yes, ma'am.
What time of day?
It was approximately 6 o'clock p.m.
Okay, tell me what happened.
My son was out on his rollerblades, and...
Are you immediate neighbors? Do your properties abut each other?
I can see the side of his house from the front of my house.
Okay, so you're not immediate next-door neighbors?
No, Your Honor.
So your son was outside on his rollerblades?
He was on his rollerblades, and we had our garage door open, and he had come to the door and he said that there was a stray dog outside. So when I opened my door going into the garage, there was a dog standing there. No collar, no anything.
Was it this dog?
His dog, which I did not know at the time, Your Honor.
Okay, but the dog was in your garage?
In my garage. So I told Sheldon he was playing with a friend several streets over, that he was going back over there. I closed our garage door and came in the house. And
where did the dog go?
Back out in the neighborhood. And so then it was probably about 45 minutes later, I was going around because I just got the house, so I was going around to put a new light bulb in on my front porch. So Prissy had never been out front yet, my little dog. So I put her on her lead, and I walked her around to the front porch, and I had the lead on my hand, and I was doing the light bulb. Well, here comes the dog again. And so it's on the sidewalk, and then Sheldon said, "Mom, I think that dog's a stray dog. It's going to get hit." By this time, the dog comes running through my yard, comes up, and with teeth and everything, and starts fighting Prissy. And Prissy's 4 pounds, 8 ounces. Ripped her ear. There was blood every place. It was all over her, all over the porch.
So this dog came up on your porch?
On my front porch.
Okay.
And I have a picture of my house, Your Honor, that shows that my front door is not like right there next to the sidewalk.
I'd like to see it, please.
The dog had to come quite a ways.
Okay.
So Prissy had to, she was bleeding profusely. Then I couldn't get it to stop, and it had torn. The tooth of the dog had torn her ear and had nipped my hand, because when the dog started attacking, my dog was on her lead. I immediately just,
yanked her up.
Yanked her by her lead. She's hanging. I've got her in my arms, and their dog kept jumping on me to get at Prissy, and ended up having its 2 teeth into my hand. I rushed Prissy in immediately into the house, yelled at the top of my lungs at this dog to get, just to get out of our yard and get away from us. I made my son come in. I ended up taking Prissy to the emergency animal clinic around the corner from our house, and they put her in emergency surgery. She stayed overnight. She ended up getting 3 stitches in her ear, which will never heal again because it was at the end of it, and it broke a blood vessel. That's where all the blood had come from that was everywhere. So,
what were the vet bills?
The night of the surgery was $397.28, and then for her follow-up, it was $28. And then she also had another follow-up, Your Honor, $43.73. And then after I had found out that their dog had not had its rabies shots, my dog had to go back to the vet, which was $68.37.
Now, what about the sweater?
And I also have the receipt for the sweater. It was a black silk sweater set that I had it was the second time I'd ever worn it. And of course it was ruined, and I just wanted my dog taken care of, the main thing.
Just give me the
cost
of this. That's what we're here for. Give me the cost of the sweater set.
The sweater was $85.52.
$622.90. Is that right, Bird?
That's right.
Good. This thing broke. I think it needs a new battery. Oh, see, I just fixed it. Now I'll hear you.
First of all,
September 10th?
Yes, ma'am.
6 p.m.
Yes, ma'am. It was later than that. My wife called. I was going home from work, and she said,
Were you at home?
Pardon me?
Were you at home?
No, ma'am. My wife was. I was
Good.
at my
So
work.
I don't want to hear from you yet.
She did not come to our house till the 12th.
I don't care what she came to your house. Were you at home on September 10th at 6 o'clock?
Yes.
Where was your dog?
I thought she was in the backyard.
But she wasn't?
I don't remember.
Was she chained in the backyard? Is there a fence?
There is a fence, yes.
Has she gotten out of the fence? She's a digger.
Once before, yes.
Because Jack Russells are diggers.
Yes, ma'am.
So they make holes under the fence and scoot out.
Yes, ma'am.
I know a little bit about Jack Russells. Bought a house from somebody who raised Jack Russells. Spent a lot of time filling in the holes that they made. That's what Jack Russells do. They dig holes.
Yes.
So your dog's gotten out before.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you got out again. So you tell me why you believe that you are not responsible for all of these bills that the plaintiff had.
Well,
we're not even talking about the pain and suffering she had because she was bitten by your dog, or the emotional distress. We're not talking about that. I think that she would have been satisfied just taking care of the dog's medical bills.
Yes, Your Honor.
So why don't you tell me why you think that you're not responsible?
Well, when she first came to our house, she immediately stated that she was, if we did not take care of it, that she was going to sue us and have our dog picked up. And I asked her, she'd have to talk to my husband because she was very irate and I didn't want to deal with her. So I told her she had to come home back when my husband was home.
Why? Aren't you a big girl? Can't you take care of this business yourself? What do you have to deal with him for? She came to you. She's a woman. You're a woman. She got bit. Her dog got bit. She had vet bills. What did you have to talk to your husband for? What is he? He's got a bigger brain than you do?
No.
I don't think he does.
No.
You don't, do you, sir? You're not smarter than your wife, are you?
In some instances, I think I am.
Really? Really? Just that answer suggests to me that that's not true. So why don't you tell me, Mr. Salas, why you think you're not responsible for these vet bills?
Because today is the first day she's seen our dog. She's not seen our dog before the alleged incident, nor since. Her proof is that she said that she talked to people, children that ride with her son on the school bus, and they said, yeah, there's a little white dog that lives at our house. And that's how she's going on the basis that it was our dog that attacked her dog.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I have his statement that we had to go to dangerous dog hearing before I could do in small claims. The statement that he submitted to the court September 30th, 2002, they went to each one of the neighbors, which, you know, it's like welcome to the neighborhood to me, and explained and told what happened. He states on here that neighbors puts their address that says that they saw his dog running from my yard after they heard the confrontation. So he's suing me for hearsay, but he also said it. And when we went to dangerous dog...
You want to respond to that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll hear you.
I did say that after we asked her to get witnesses.
Just a second. So you went to neighbors, and the neighbors said that they saw your dog leaving her house.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
May I finish?
Uh-huh.
The neighbor said that her son was playing with my dog and coaxed my dog into going to their yard.
How could he coax your dog to go into their yard if your dog was behind your fence?
I'm going by what the neighbor said, I guess, because he was playing. How my dog got out, I don't know. He may have gotten the dog out. I don't know.
Mr. Salas, I've just made up my mind. We're going to let your wife finish talking. Your dog bit her. Your dog bit her dog. Your dog got out from the backyard. Your dog has gotten out of the backyard before. You are responsible for keeping your dog penned in. If your dog digs holes in order to get out of your fenced backyard, then you have to keep your dog in the house. Or you have to keep your dog tethered on a wide enough lead so that your dog has the run of the backyard but can't leave. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
That's it. End of discussion. You're responsible for all of these bills. So we've made an interesting case out of your case. However, he has a counterclaim, which is equally as ridiculous, which I'm sure your wife would never have filed. Because, Mr. Salas, you want her to pay for all of the expenses that you incurred when she reported your dog as a dangerous dog, and you had to go to hearings, and you had to get muzzle for your dog, and you had to get restraints in your house, all of those things, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
We had the restraints already.
Then what do you think that she ought to pay for?
All the inconvenience we've incurred because
You should be inconvenienced.
What about my inconvenience?
You should be inconvenienced. A lot. Your dog had a history of getting out of your fenced backyard, according to your wife, who knows how to tell the truth. And if that's the case, you should have seen to it, and your wife should have seen to it, that this dog was not placed in a position where the dog could get out and cause any injury to any other person or any other animal or people's property. You didn't do that. So if you were inconvenienced, that's what's supposed to happen to people who don't take care of their responsibilities. So your counterclaim is dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $622.90. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think it was fair.
I don't believe that what was asked for was fair.
And hopefully people that are pet owners realize that you have to take legal liability for your pets.
We've had her since she was born for 9 years. It's never happened before.
You keep your pet at your house and under control.
She doesn't get out of the house, except for when I'm out there.
And you don't let it roam the neighborhood.
Watch out for your neighbors.
If everybody would just stay on their own side and keep their animals in control, then none of this would have happened.
If Ms. Collins would have done what I requested in the beginning and asked someone that she said saw the incident come and talk to me, neither one of us would be here right now.
If he just would have been responsible, this would never happen.
I'm glad it's over.
When it bit my dog, I was really freaked out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Mason versus DeRose. Step forward, please.
17-year-old pharmacy technician Mark Mason is suing former schoolmate, 18-year-old Michael DeRose, for selling him phony tickets to an Aerosmith concert.
Mr. Mason, it is your claim that the defendant sold you some tickets. They were concert tickets, but they were tickets that permitted you to go backstage.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And you paid how much for those tickets?
The total ticket cost for 4 tickets was $220.
And according to you, Mr. Mason, when you got to the concert, you couldn't go backstage with those tickets. Somebody told you that they were bogus. Is that right?
That's correct.
Mr. DeRose says he never sold you real backstage tickets. They were laminated memorabilia tickets.
Novelties, yes.
Novelties. And he told you that.
Yes, and they were not tickets, Your Honor.
They were just backstage passes?
They were laminated passes, yes.
So these passes that he sold you did not enable you to go into the concert. Is that right?
Well, when we talked to Michael about it, he informed us that, first of all, he did tell us that they were real tickets.
Just a second.
Sure.
Would you answer my question?
I'm sorry.
Were these just to permit you to go backstage, or did they permit you to get into the concert as well?
They were all access passes, so you're allowed to go anywhere on the grounds, including into the concert.
Okay. For 4 people, $220?
Yes.
Now, what concert was this?
It was an Aerosmith concert that was to take place at the Connecticut Meadow Centers in Hartford on September 5th.
And how did you know the defendant?
I went to school with him last year. I had a couple classes with him. And
How did you know he was selling these tickets?
He had sold them previously to people, and it was just sort of known that he said he had a connection at the Meadows Theater, and he could get backstage passes to concerts.
Do you have those tickets with you?
No, when we got to the concert grounds, all 4 tickets were confiscated at the gate.
Did you get to see the concert at all?
No, we were escorted off the grounds.
Now, gave $220 in cash?
Yes.
You don't deny that you got $220 in cash?
Oh, yes, I do deny that. I actually
How much
have
did you
receipts
get?
here, if you'd like to.
How much did you get?
I got around $40 at the most. They were $5 each ticket without the name on it, and $7 with, plus the shipping and handling.
Let me hear you, sir.
When we originally approached him, he said that the tickets were $50 each without names on them and $60 each with names, and he did not charge us shipping and handling.
You got them from him directly, hand to hand?
Yes, that's correct. He delivered them to my place of employment, which is a pharmacy that I work at with Lisa over there.
Mr. DeRose, I believe him. So let's move on from there.
Your Honor,
Okay?
this is-
I believe him.
I have documents here.
Oh, let me see.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. Let me see what documents you have, sir.
Marcus and I were both in Cisco Laboratories, and
Just a minute.
okay. The top copy is the receipts that I paid for through PayPal.
Just a minute.
Okay.
I wish I understood this PayPal. Can you explain it to me, Bird?
PayPal is basically it's just an online ordering system. You drop money in your bank account or credit card, and it goes directly right through there to the person's email, and it gets dropped into their bank account right away. So
What
it's
he said.
instantaneous.
What he said.
There you go.
What he said. Whatever happened to you have a checkbook in a little...
Your Honor, that takes time. This is instantaneous. Sorry.
What happened to those checkbooks? You know, you write a check and then you write something on top and you say check number 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's basically an online
Right.
check. Sorry.
We're talking here.
I don't want to interrupt.
Is that what you use? Those checks thing?
Yeah, I still use checks for the
Yeah,
most
I
part.
still use checks. Would you show this to Mr. Mason, please? Because I don't understand it, but maybe he does. And I want you to take a look at that, Mr. Mason.
All
That's
that
a
is
thing.
the-
Shh.
Sorry, Your Honor.
That's a thing from PayPal. What do you have to say about that?
All that is the way.
I didn't.
Okay.
I am actually not involved in PayPal, so I couldn't tell you what this is. I mean, he may have gotten the tickets through this, but...
But that's not your. You
that
didn't
is
have
not
anything to
my
do with
receipt,
that.
No.
That's not your receipt.
No.
You don't know anything about that?
Nope.
You don't use PayPal?
No.
Your Honor, that's how I purchased the tickets.
I don't care how you purchased the tickets. Who
Well,
cares about how you purchased the tickets?
That's how he got them.
What difference does it make how you purchased the tickets? No, the prices are on there what you paid for the tickets.
Yes.
Not what you charged him for the tickets.
Well, also you have the eBay listing for the passes.
What difference does that make?
On there it says these items are novelties. And
What?
Mark,
Let me ask you, what difference does that make?
Your Honor, as I was stating before, Marcus and I were in the same classroom, and we're always on the computer playing video games.
Oh, get lost. Listen to me. He says he paid $220 for the tickets, and I believe him. I still believe him after you show me this stuff, that he paid $220 for the tickets. They were 4 tickets. He was supposed to go to a concert. He got to the concert. They confiscated his 4 tickets because they said they were bogus.
No, they were passes. They were not tickets. That was clearly stated, and everyone that Marcus talked to that actually got into backstage concerts with them knew that they needed tickets.
I don't care what anybody else knows.
He never
Old
had
Marcus
tickets.
over here, maybe he's not as smart as all your other friends. When he pays
Mark's very
$220
smart, actually.
for 4 tickets, he thinks that he's going to at least get to hear a song. Right? And he got to hear nothing.
Your Honor,
Judgment for the plaintiff in the
never
amount of
purchased
$220. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Numerous times we asked the defendant if the tickets were real and if we would be allowed into the concert grounds, and he did tell us numerous times that indeed we would.
For $60, that's a little low.
He may have purchased them through eBay or PayPal, but he told us that he had a connection at the Meadows that was getting the tickets for us.
If Marcus actually had tickets, like he originally stated, maybe it could have been a whole different situation.
For the cost of a car, an assault, and filing a false restraining order.
Court come to order. All rise.
Be seated, please.
Hello, Judge. Hi. Case number 204, Bernero versus Trinell.
Thank you, Kevin. Now, you have to tell me, are you Miss or Mr.?
For the duration of this case, I will refer to as Mr. for legal terms.
Mr. Trinell.
Correct.
Okay. Ms. Bumel, you and the defendant dated for how long?
2 years.
And according to what I read, during part of that period of time, you lived at your mom's house.
Yes.
From when to when?
From January to May.
Of what year?
2021.
Had you lived with each other prior to that?
Yes.
Where?
At his mom's.
And how long had you lived at his mom's?
About a year, once I turned 18.
Prior to your moving into his mom's, were you ever together?
Yes.
Where?
Well, we didn't live together. We were just, we were seeing each other, I mean.
From when to when?
From April to December of 2019. And then I moved in at the beginning of 2020.
So for a long time. Did you have plans to marry and
yes.
Had you discussed it?
Yes.
True?
You had those conversations, yeah.
Great. This case actually has to do with funds that you put in to a car that was supposed to be used by both of you, but since you didn't have a license, the car was put in your name. And the relationship took a bad turn, and you have the car. Is that right?
Yes.
And you, Ms. Bumel, want the money that you put into the car.
Yes, we agreed that I would get my half of the money if he kept the car.
Well, you didn't put in half the money. You only put in, according to you, a deposit.
Yes.
So you're not entitled to half the cost. Restraining order against the defendant, and I believe you spent a little time in custody. Is that correct?
Yes, they took me in and fingerprinted me.
And that was after the breakup?
Yes.
All right, so let's go to the car. You were living with your mother when the car was purchased?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Trunell, month and year the car was purchased?
May of 2021.
So that was immediately prior to the breakup?
Yes.
What kind of car was purchased?
2014 Ford Focus SE.
And the purchase price?
We put down a deposit of $7,000. Total purchase of the car was just under $11,000.
So that was finance charge?
Yes.
On the car. Who financed the car?
I did.
Through what institution?
My bank account. I was paying it through my debit card while I was working.
I understand that, but what institution? What
Bank of America.
Credit? Bank of America. And what were the monthly payments?
$200, around there.
So if the car was purchased immediately prior to the breakup, the plaintiff really didn't get any benefit or use of the car. Very little, maybe at most 30 days. That be a fair statement?
I'd say so.
Fair statement?
Yes.
And how much, Ms. Buhlman, did you put into the car?
I put in $6,000.
Is that correct?
Correct.
I'd like to see proof that you put in $6,000.
There's one page that is not highlighted.
Totals to $7,000, Your Honor.
What is this that you gave me?
My bank statements for what I paid at CarMax and then what I take out. I did because I did a cash deposit. So everything I took out at the ATM, I put right into my cash flow envelope I had for savings for the car. But there are 2 CarMax transactions. I did it in cash because I was told that it would be cheaper if I did it in cash because it won't be taxed if it was compared to a card.
Yeah, but these figures don't add up to the same thing as that.
Well, he did pay a little because that is $7,000.
No. But these figures I have on the 13th of May, which is when this car was purchased. I have you took out $800. You took out $1,520. You took out another $100.
Yes.
I may be missing something, but that's all I see.
No, and then, like I said, the ATM on the other 2 bank statements, it says $700, $800, and I believe another $500 for everything I took out in cash for down deposit.
I'm not following that. Are you understanding this? Take a look at this.
Sure.
So she's saying that these PNC bank statements was cash withdrawals that she then used towards, I'm assuming, this large $5,380 first bill, because the totals from this are only total to $2,420.
Right. Well, that's all I have. That's your bank statement. This thing that you handed me first is actually unreliable because my 14-year-old child could make that up on a computer. I'm looking at
the contract, the bill of sale.
Contract. Yeah, I'd like to see it. And I'd like to see your bank statement, please.
I don't have bank statements with me.
Any reason?
In my search, there were no correlations on May 13th towards the purchase. Only records that came up were towards the insurance and car payments that followed after the date. So I did not believe it was reasonable for me to submit that as evidence.
In the future, you should let the fact finder determine whether it's reasonable or not, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, when you finance the car, what this requires you to do is to maintain insurance.
Yes.
And it requires you to maintain insurance for both liability and collision until the remainder of the loan is paid off.
Yes.
Did you?
Yes.
Good. Now, without going into anything else, the 2 of you are no longer together. We may have to get into that later on the protective order, but the car was totaled.
Yes.
After the breakup.
Yes.
And the car was totaled and insured so that there was payment by the insurance company.
Yes.
How much?
$6,000.
Do you have any proof of that?
No.
Now, when you received the $6,000, the balance of your loan was $7,000. When was the car totaled?
September 29th of 2021.
So you had the car for a few months and made a few payments.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this looks to me in total $6,000.
Correct.
Well, why didn't you give her the rest of the money? Are you following me? I mean, that doesn't seem like rocket science. It wasn't your money. The 2 of you broke up. And it's clear to me that you had a minimal investment in this dollar-wise.
The reason I didn't was mainly because I was the only person that could hold on to the car and keep it legally because it was under my insurance. Okay. I was able to finance it from there.
Okay. Well, what you should have said to me was, I got a check for $6,000, but the $6,000, didn't that have to go to Bank of America?
Yes, it did. It went to Bank of America, went to my account. I used it towards paying off medical bills from the accident, and I used it towards rent for my home.
Well, why didn't you use it towards paying off the car loan?
The insurance company had paid off the rest of what I was owed to pay on the car to CarMax. They paid it off.
Oh, so they paid it off, plus they gave you $6,000.
No, let me correct. I apologize. I'm very nervous. The insurance company, after the incident, had paid off the rest of what was owed to CarMax from me.
Okay, so the insurance company paid off to the lender.
Yes.
Which was left, which was, let's say, $6,000.
Yes.
And in addition to that, they sent you a check.
Yes, I used that check towards my bills, and I used it towards my rent.
Okay, well, that you can't do, because that really wasn't your money. You didn't spend that money. Didn't you feel as if it was appropriate to give it back to her?
I would have if I wasn't in the situation that I was. And
what situation were you?
I was injured.
Who is this? Is this your mother?
Yes.
Okay. Are you living with your mom?
Yes.
Okay. Well, so you weren't on the street. I assume that you feed your child when you have to.
He was actually taking care of me.
For it by the insurance company, and you had no right to keep it for your own bills. Okay. Got it?
Yes.
Easy. Easy peasy. Now, next is your allegation that he assaulted you and filed a false restraining order.
Yes.
Okay. So now let's jump to you are no longer living together. This is after May of 2021. You had an encounter, according to your papers, with the defendant. Tell me when and where that happened.
So October 6th at a Gloucester City park, right down the street from where I was staying. So I walked there. And we both agreed for me to pick up my things because he still had some of my belongings.
Did you make the appointment to meet by text, by email?
Yes.
Text?
Yes.
Anybody have those texts?
Let me see if I do.
I do not. My phone was destroyed.
I only have the text from when he texted me the car accident when I said I was planning to take my car back. And right after that, I then planned to meet up with him to get the rest of my stuff back.
Okay. Well, you don't have the text involving that. Okay. So you did, in fact, meet at a park.
Yes.
How did you get there?
I walked there. I was staying at a friend's house.
How did you get there?
I drove my mother's car.
Okay. Now you're in the park. Tell me what happened. And this is in October.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So we meet at the park, and he gives me my belongings. And then I asked him, because throughout the breakup and afterwards, I knew there was some things he was hiding from me. So I asked him if he was hiding anything and to get some closure.
I don't know what I did wrong.
Yes.
Because he moved out.
Well, from the reason he told me we broke up, he said it was mental illness. And then I felt like I wasn't helping if I could do any more. I felt like I could have done more because I was very accepting of who he is now. And so since that happened and I was so accepting of him, then he threatened to hit me. And I was very confused. And I just said, okay. And then he shoved it and swung at me.
And at no time did you hit him?
After that, I did defend myself and I did hit him.
What did you hit him with?
Just my hands. I pushed him just to get him off of me.
Was he injured?
By scratches, yes.
Where?
On the face. There was like 2 scratches I saw.
And what about you?
I had bruises on my shoulders, both shoulders, and then I had a swelling on my head.
Either of you have photographs of the injuries?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at them.
20-year-old Hannah Buhlman says ex-boyfriend Ryan Trunell is responsible for a car down payment and injuries from an assault. Ryan said he was the one assaulted.
Either of you have photographs of the injuries?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at them.
Thank you.
Okay. How did it end, the incident in the park?
So I just pushed him on the ground and I walked away.
And where did you go?
I first went back to his house. I did go to his house because he still had one of my big bags.
Okay, so after this incident, you pushed him down. You went back to his house with him?
No, I with my friend.
Well, your friend wasn't with you in the park.
Yes, I walked to my friend's house. I let him know what happened, and then we drove to his house so I can get the rest of my belongings that I couldn't carry home.
And what happened when you got...
I told you I was mentally unstable, and I'm like, I just want my stuff back, and I grabbed it and I left.
So you got your things back?
Yeah.
And you both said, I'm sorry. Does that sound correct?
No.
Well, tell me your version of, you had this argument in the park.
We had an argument in the park. She was asking me questions about why the relationship had ended. I had explained that it was through emotional turmoil, mental illness, and that she was not being very supportive. She was very toxic, and she was very aggressive with me. And when I had told her that I was going through all of this stuff and that I felt bad for things that happened in a relationship, I told her that you need to understand that you did me wrong too. She said, so what? I pushed her. She swung first. I swung back. We fought. We broke up the fight in the beginning. I apologized. Her items were on the ground. I picked them up. I handed them to her. She punched me in the face twice. Post that, grabbed my hair, pulled it, and then we broke up the fight after. I got in my car. I went home first. She went back across the street to her friend's place. I was at the apartment. I was just talking to my landlords about some stuff that my mother and I had to take care of. I don't exactly remember. As I was coming back up from the apartment, her and her friend had walked up, threatened to charge me with assault, and demanded the $7,000 for the car then and there. I said I didn't have it. I apologized for what had happened.
Didn't have it? You apologized for spending the money?
Yeah.
That's what part of the argument was about, back at your apartment.
Well, there wasn't an argument on that.
Yes.
Yes.
And who went first?
I did.
But you didn't go to the police station immediately after the incident. You went to the police station after she said she's going to charge you with assault.
Yes.
And do you have a copy with you of the police report that you filed?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
You have a copy of the police report you filed?
I do not.
You do not. Okay. So you were not injured, and What I'm putting together here is that you went to the police station and filed this because she had threatened to go to the police and charge you with assault. You went there, got there first, and you got there second. Is that right? And by the time you got there, is that the time they took you into custody?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever, Mr. Trunell, seek medical attention for any of these injuries that I see in these photographs?
No.
The answer is either yes or no.
No.
And you do acknowledge, Mr. Trunell, that the initial aggressor, physical aggressor, which is what you testified to. Let's go back to his initial testimony, Whitney. I believe he testified that, not sure, she was aggressive, she was loud, she wouldn't accept it, and he pushed her. But I'd like to get the exact wording.
So I told her that you need to understand that you did me wrong too. She said, so what? I pushed her. She swung first. I swung back. We fought.
Okay, so after you pushed her, after you put your hands on her, according to you, she swung at you.
Correct.
Okay, well, you didn't expect her to give you a kiss after you pushed her. Well, you already have, according to you, that money invested in the car, which he got back. So you are entitled to that. And since that's the extent of your claim against the defendant, I'm granting your petition in the amount of $6,000. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished here. Thank you.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
There were a lot of factors going on, I believe, just between both of us.
I'm just more than grateful to finally get this over with. I've been waiting too long and
Just a lot, I think, that I had to work on, too.
fighting for it and put so much work and time into it.
A lot of the things that were going on in my head was me being depressed, having to deal with a lot of what was going on in the world at the same time, too.
Well, he was like trying on makeup and stuff when we were together, and I was showing him how to do makeup, and I was being very supportive and just telling him, you know, you should get help, go get a therapist.
I felt like she was pushing me away.
And I don't know why he felt the other way around, because
We just both go our separate ways, and we both just try and be happy. And
I didn't know what to do, and what I was doing I thought was supportive.
That must have been a very difficult breakup for both of them after being together for a significant number of years. But that's tip number one of Judy Justice is never put your hands on someone. And tip number two, never purchase property, dogs, cars, timeshares with someone who's not your legal partner or without a contract. I mean, we've seen this time and time again.
Bulldog.
Mr. Parker, this case is about a puppy that you allegedly sold to the defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
That you want to be paid for. She has some sort of nonsense counterclaim.
Yes.
Which I will get to and resolve quickly.
Great.
So, Mr. Parker, you have a home that has 2 units in it?
We have a triplex, so it's a house and then it's a triplex behind the house.
So you live in the main house?
Yes.
Behind the main house, there are 3 units?
Yes.
When did you rent one of the 3 units to the defendant?
I rented it to her around February. I think I put the ad in early February.
Of what year?
2022.
Is that correct, Ms. Miles, that you moved into the unit in approximately February of 2022?
It was March, but yeah.
You put the ad in February?
Yes, ma'am.
Moved in March. And what was the rent that you had?
$1,250.
You have children?
Yes.
How many?
1.
How old?
Dogs. But I didn't know about French bulldogs. That was kind of new to me.
What is your regular business, sir?
Property management.
Other than the property that you live in, do you have any other property that you manage?
Yes, ma'am.
You're really supposed to be sort of an expert before you go into the breeding business.
Yeah, well, I
dog
had a
breeding
lot of
business.
help.
That's sort of a foolhardy thing.
I had a lot of help. I wasn't by myself. I had people that was already breeding. They had 20 years.
Okay, so you had somebody to
yes,
give you sort of
I
instruction.
didn't just jump into it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And you decided to breed French bulldogs.
Yes, ma'am.
You purchased your first 2 French bulldogs, a male and a female, when?
I purchased them around January.
And that's about the same time that you posted an ad for this unit that you moved into.
Yes, ma'am. All around the same
And
time.
that dog, I believe, based upon my recollection and my memory isn't what it used to be, I think the dog's name is Dolce.
Dolce, yes, ma'am.
How old was Dolce when you purchased her in February?
She was approximately 3 months.
How much did you pay for her?
I paid $3,200 for her.
And did you have AKC papers for her?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, according to your complaint, when the defendant moved in, she moved in March, she moved in with her 9-year-old daughter. The 9-year-old daughter saw this dog, Dolce, and became attached to the dog,
yes,
fell in love with the dog, and the defendant agreed to purchase the dog.
Yes, ma'am.
And you acknowledge that you agreed to purchase the dog.
Yes.
In March of 2022, how much did you agree to pay Mr. Parker for the...
Miranda Miles owes for the cost of a French bulldog. Miranda is countersuing for harassment and invasion of privacy.
Miss Miles, I want you to think more clearly. Try to be clear. He had just paid $3,200 for the dog.
I didn't know that.
So, according to you, he agreed to sell you the dog for $2,500.
Yes, and then he changed it to 35 when I moved in.
Oh, so before you moved in, he said 25, but after you moved in, he said 35. Yes. Did you agree to pay him the 35?
Yes.
Okay, so now you have an agreed price of $3,500, which sounds more reasonable than 25 because he paid more for the dog.
Yeah, that's not entirely true.
$500.
Yes.
She doesn't understand from co-ownership. You're talking about breeding down the road. Did you pay him any part of the $3,500?
No.
Okay, now let's go further. Are you still living in the unit behind him?
Yes.
So now that's March, April, May, June, July, August. Did you pay March's rent?
Yes.
April?
Yes.
May?
Yes.
June?
Yes.
July?
Yes.
And August?
Not yet.
Did she pay everything except August so far?
Yes, but I had to take her to court to almost evict her to get the money.
Okay. When did you start eviction proceedings? In what month?
I started eviction proceeding in June.
How much behind in rent was she?
She was just that month, but she had been late 2 prior times. So.
Okay. How late is late?
Well, I give you a grace period up to the 4th. Sometimes it's like the 10th.
Sometimes it was like the 10th.
Yes.
So we're not talking August 5th now. Did you pay your rent?
Not yet. Why? Honestly, I'm struggling. I'm unemployed right now, and he knows my situation with my bank and my account right now, and he knows why. I have no funds at this moment.
Oh, but that's his business.
I get it.
See,
Mm-hmm.
that's his business. Mm-hmm. Do you work?
Not at the moment.
Why?
Because I got fired.
Why?
Because I didn't have transportation, and I've been...
So you didn't go. Well, if you don't go to work or if you come late, then you get fired.
Right, and I also have health problems that I've been going through as well.
That is also, Miss Miles, not his problem.
I know.
Now, I'm going to go back to something that Mr. Parker said, because I think that it's sort of important for me to be able to resolve, which would mean that you would share the litters if the dog was bred.
Yeah, he did. I wasn't very clear about it, but yes, he did, and I was willing to do that, so I was able to afford the dog.
Mm-hmm. That's going to help me resolve the issue. And you gave him no part of the $3,500?
No.
So, do you want to tell me what your defense is to this? Because your counterclaim is ridiculous. I don't even remember what it is. For harassment, slander, invasion of privacy.
He comes to my house, knocks on my door randomly all the time, every day.
Then move. Just a second. Then move.
He put cameras on all my neighbors.
Listen to me.
I don't have the money.
Listen to me. Move.
I don't have the money.
Well, that's, again, not his problem. He wants his rent on time, and he would like to be paid for his dog.
Right.
Okay, let's move on
Okay.
to something that's viable. Okay? Let's talk about this breeding of the dog, which I think would be absolutely ridiculous. Have you taken the dog to the vet?
Yes.
Dog's gotten its shots?
Absolutely.
Plaintiff, we're finished. Thank you very much.
But, Your Honor, she's supposed to get full breeding rights.
I'm not giving her full breeding rights to anything. She can't take care of herself or her 9-year-old. She has no money. How is she going to breed a dog?
We can't do the co-ownership.
No, well, you're not doing a co-ownership, sir. She just bought the dog for $3,500. That
wasn't the agreement.
Oh, just a second. You keep the papers. Do you understand?
Okay.
Do you keep the papers? She doesn't get the AKC papers.
Okay.
She keeps the dog, which means she's going to take care of the dog, get it spayed, do whatever she's supposed to do with the dog.
Okay.
You get $3,500, and don't make deals like this again.
So we won't have to do a co-ownership anymore. She can either get the dog, the whole rights to it, or just pay me out.
I think he was trying to help me pay for it, and that's why he said the co-ownership, because I was unable to pay for the whole $5,500.
The whole rights to it, or just pay me out, you know.
I think that's what he was trying to do.
But I think overall the judgment was fair.
We live next door, so we have to.
I hope that we can actually do this together, and
we're good. Me and him are good.
I hope it does run smoothly. We don't have any more mishaps.
The case itself was easy, Sarah. Promised you'd buy the dog. Your daughter is in love with the dog. And you said, well, I can't pay for it. This time, the dog's attached, and he seems like a very, very nice man. But we had 2 little Maltese dogs once. I don't know if you remember them.
I remember the stories.
Do you remember the story? You were too young to remember the dogs. They were 2 little yappy Maltese dogs. And we thought it might be an interesting experience to breed. And I think we had 2 or maybe 3 in the litter. And I couldn't leave them home. So I would take them in a box in my car to the courthouse and open the drawer and keep them in the drawer so that I could feed them, because this mother that wasn't a very good mother for the dogs, and she didn't want to be bothered feeding, so I had a bottle that they had to be fed every 2 hours.
Oh my goodness.
It's
a full-time job.
It was a full.
You get involved.
It was a full-time job. That's it. But it was our last time. You really have to know what you're doing. Otherwise, it's really not fair for the dogs. That's one of the reasons why she did not get the AKC papers, because she's having a hard enough time taking care of herself.
And now she has a pet that...
An address deposit.
Miss Morgan, this is what this case is about in a nutshell. You were celebrating a birthday. When was your birthday?
March 24th.
And you always make a big deal, according to you, about your birthday. It's a very important day of the year for you and for everybody who knows you.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the way Sarah feels, actually. Me, I sort of like to forget birthdays now. I like it to run right by that day as undercovered as possible. Anyway, you celebrate your birthday with a big party.
Right.
And according to you, you get a spectacular dress for this party, invite everybody that you know and care about. How many people were you having for your birthday party?
It was going to be about 12 people.
Where was it going to be held?
It was going to be at the James Harden restaurant.
Who was going to be there?
My best friend from Chicago.
Restaurant for that day, so you made it in April, on a different day than your birthday.
Yes, I originally booked it in January 18th. The restaurant, it's a big deal, so yeah.
Whatever. It was postponed until what date?
Yes, ma'am, April 1st.
Okay.
Corey Morgan says dress designer Jacqueline Davis is responsible for party costs and a dress deposit. Jacqueline is countersuing, claiming Corey owes for travel costs.
And you wore, so she's busy. So she makes clothes, she's a tax preparer in season. You made arrangements with her to make your dress, and she was going to make your dress at the cost of $300. According to you, you didn't get your dress in time. It was never fitted at all after your initial measurements were taken. Is that correct?
Yes.
And since you didn't have the dress for your dinner, you had a terrible birthday, you canceled your birthday, and you want her to pay for the dinner.
Yes.
Just the
build up.
That's Miss Morgan. How old are you?
I just made 35, so it was the build up leading to it.
So if you turn 35, I'm a lot older. Sarah's younger, and my other grandchildren, you know, were around that age. I have one that's dress. I mean, it's not as if a bride is canceling her wedding because she didn't have a wedding dress to wear. Of course, if you want to get married badly enough, you put a sack over your head with a tie and you walk down the aisle. But you don't cancel the wedding. So you want her to pay for the deposit that you made on the dress.
Yeah, it was.
And another $1,000 or more because you didn't have a nice party.
So originally when I booked it, it was for April 1st. When I tried to rebook it, because she told me at the last minute that she was not going to be able to do the dress, which was the week of. I had
something else for the party. Believe me, your best friend from Chicago, your mother and your father would not have cared if you wore that dress or any other dress. You should not be out a penny.
I was out of a penny.
Well, you were out $150. You gave her $150. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I gave it back to her. I sent her a refund.
Oh, you did send her a refund?
Yes.
Did you? Just a second. Up. When did you send her a refund, Miss Davis?
I sent her a refund on March 29th. She requested a refund on March 28th, and I sent it directly to her.
To her on March 29th?
Yes.
How did you send it? By check or?
She sent me the money via Cash App, and I returned it via Cash App.
Do you have verification of that?
Yes, I do.
And she kept that money?
Yes.
Is that correct, Miss Morgan?
She sent it the week of my event. So
I don't care the week of your event. Did you send her $105 or?
I did.
Why?
Because I was charged a fee with Cash App, and also there were additional items that were purchased that I told her about that I deducted from that.
You can't deduct anything from that. And you can't even deduct the fee from Cash App because what it cost her was more than $150 then to send it to you, right?
Right.
Right. So why should you send her less?
Because I previously explained to her that I needed to order stolen.
On it, the problem is you gave her money, and you should have sent her exactly what it is that she sent you, because you didn't fulfill your end of the contract. A day before the party is not the time to say it's 95% ready. Okay. She has to give you $145.88, which is exactly what she received. Am I correct that that's what she said?
That is what she said.
$145.88. Okay. She doesn't pay you for your disappointment, for your sorrow, for your party costs, or anything else. Just for my own information, because that's my judgment. Did you spend your birthday with your mother and father? That's either yes or no.
No, ma'am.
Who did you spend your birthday with?
My boyfriend.
Oh, was he invited to the other party?
The dinner, yes, but I had to cancel the dinner.
I'm just asking.
Yes.
You didn't have to cancel the dinner because you didn't have a dress. That's what I'm trying to get to you. You could have gone to your dinner in that dress. I know, it's silly, and it's a little bit immature.
To the dress, so when she didn't deliver the dress, everything was already in black and silver. I did not have a chance to go look for anything because it was the week of.
Oh, yes, of course you did. Of course you did, black and silver. You put on black pants, black top, and you put on silver around your neck. We're done here. Don't be ridiculous, Miss Morgan. You have to grow up a little. You have to give her back her money. Don't disappoint people. I mean, I know it's busy. It's tax time. You said to her, I'm busy. I'm working on things for the Oscars. You can't.
I'm not happy about it just because I'd already given her a refund. I'm happy with the decision. It was pretty much principle for me. She was very unprofessional. And given from the beginning, I worked with her. And she didn't respect my time, and she canceled on me at the last minute. And she waited to the last minute and canceled the order. So she canceled at the last minute because she didn't have the dress ready to begin with. Everything was really on her, but she put it on me because she was unhappy with how she chose to deal with the whole situation. We'll be getting another dress with my original person that I was going to go to. Absolutely not. But from now on, I definitely will be going with who I know. Will not work with the plaintiff again.
So I remember seeing through COVID, a lot of wedding dress shops closing down and the stress of us.
I think that one of life's lessons is as you get older, you have to prioritize the importance of things.
True. Spending time with friends, family, out of town, coming for your birthday. I couldn't imagine canceling an event just
because you didn't have the right
outfit.
dress. Because you didn't have the right dress. So I think that there's a lot of growing up to do, maybe a little less narcissism, because it would seem to me spending time with your boyfriend, your mother, your father, your best friend from Chicago is more important than having the right dress to fit your nails and your shoes.
And airfare.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2040, Harvey versus Kelly.
Thank you. Ms. Harvey, according to what you wrote in your complaint, you've known Mr. Kelly since college?
Yes.
And you dated in college?
Yes.
That was more than 30 years ago?
Yes.
And according to Mr. Kelly, you broke up with him in college. In what year was that?
Oh, gosh. That was what?
Do you remember?
92, I believe, Your Honor.
Okay.
And then somehow you reconnected. I assume you both had lives in between 1992 and 2022. When did you reconnect?
In April of 2021.
How?
Well, he was looking for me, so...
He was looking for you?
He emailed my best friend. He emailed her business and asked her, well, gave her his number and asked that I call him.
So far correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you were interested in seeing her again. In that 30-year period, did either of you have other people in your lives, have children, marry?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Okay, how long were you married?
I was married for 10 years.
Have any kids?
Yes, 2 kids.
And you, sir?
11 years. And
have any children?
1 child, yes.
Both divorced?
Yes.
Okay, that could have made it.
I did.
And that was in April of 2021?
Yes.
Where did you live at the time?
Detroit, Michigan.
And you, sir?
Colton, California.
When was the first time you actually saw each other?
April of 2021.
You live in Michigan.
Yes.
But you have a child who lives in California.
I do.
How old is that child?
21.
Male or female?
Male.
And where does he live now?
With his dad.
When you come down to see him, where do you stay?
In the past, sometimes I would stay with his dad, and sometimes I would stay in a hotel.
So when you visit him, you either stayed with his father or your ex-husband?
Yes.
Or stayed in a hotel?
Yes.
Depending upon the circumstance. Most of the time, did you stay at the house with his father, or most of the time in a hotel?
Most of the time, in the past, I stayed in the house with his father.
And is this his father's only child as well?
We have 2 children together.
2 children?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the other child?
She's in Chicago, Illinois.
How old is she?
26.
So you see her less frequently than you see your son?
I probably see them about the same.
It was an exclusive relationship? You did not?
At first, yes, I did, Your Honor.
And then what happened?
The last time I saw her was in Detroit, and when I returned from Detroit, the girl that I was seeing at the time had disappeared.
You mean the girl that you were seeing prior to seeing her?
Right, exactly. And I thought the relationship was over. She went deep into Mexico, and I hadn't heard from her. She had to go for some family business, and then she resurfaced once I came back. And
Once you came back from California on your last trip?
Once I came back from Detroit.
From Detroit?
Spending time with her.
To California.
And so we started talking again, and I didn't get in contact with her. She was trying to contact me, and so
you stopped answering her calls?
No, not really. I called her, and I let her know that, the girl resurfaced and that I didn't think it was going to be able to work out between me and her. And that's when the problem came along.
The problems with regard to money?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what your lawsuit is about. So you broke up with her, and at that time, according to you, you had unpaid advances to him for an airline ticket and car repairs and some small amount of money for a new grandchild that he had, some baby items. So let's start with the plane ticket. Who paid for the airfare? Because he would drive most of the time.
He drove one time. I flew, and this was the only time that he said he would pay for the ticket. I paid the other time.
Okay, well, tell me about his discussion with you of paying for this ticket.
Sure. So he wanted me to come for his birthday.
When is your birthday?
In June, Your Honor.
And I told him that I was looking for tickets.
He said, I want you to come for my birthday.
Yes.
No, tell me what he said.
He said...
Tell me what he said. No, don't look over there. Look over here.
He said, I'm going to fly my boo thing out.
Okay. And
later, I looked for tickets, and he said, oh, I was going to give you $500.
Okay. And you purchased the ticket, and that was in May of what year?
That was in May of 2021. We agreed that I would put the ticket on my credit card.
And when you got to his home in California, did he give you the $500?
He did not give me the $500.
When did you ask him for it again?
I didn't ask him for it while I was there.
And then?
And then when I was back home first,
No, I'm talking about the airline ticket.
Right. Then he said, I need to give that money to you this week, right? And I told him I had made a payment on a credit card and he could have more time. And so he said he would take care of it. He said, I'll take care of it when I'm there the 1st of August.
Did he come the 1st of August?
He came in August, yes.
Okay, and what happened in August?
He came in August. We was there. We did not have any discussion about money until he told me that his account was compromised and somebody owed him some money and didn't give him the money. And so that's when he asked for the other loan amount.
For the other amount of money? You mean he was in Michigan when he asked for more money?
Yes.
Well, when he asked for any money. You had never given him money before.
Correct.
Tell me about it.
So he sent me a text message, and he asked if I could go to the credit union and take out a loan for him.
I'd like to see that.
Sure.
Please, if it was in a text message. Thank you. Mr. Kelly.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you check with your credit union and see if you could get a personal loan for $1,000 and I can make payments on it because I don't even have my gas money to get out here. If you can.
$1,500.
$1,500, excuse me. $1,500.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, what do you think that meant? Hey, baby, you think you can make that loan and even $2,000?
No, I'm saying the money wasn't a problem until I dumped her.
I don't care if it was a problem a lot. You said it was a loan.
Exactly.
Pay careful attention. If you want a dog that guarantees you practically a nice disposition, buy a golden doodle, not a wolf.
Devonna Harvey says her ex-boyfriend, Ted Kelly Jr., owes for an unpaid loan and airfare.
Well, what do you think that meant?
That she was going to give me the money. But the reason the car was having the problems is because I drove it out there to see her.
No, it's not what this says at all.
Well, a couple days later.
Shh.
Sure.
That's not what this says at all. It says I'm in 1,500. That would be perfect.
Right. I didn't know that we were keeping tabs on things because I've spent money on her and never asked her for anything.
It's not a question of spending money, sir. Spending money on her is chivalrous.
She came to see me on my birthday, but I bought her gifts. And I took her to Mexico for 4 days.
7 years of college and law school. I took the bar exam. I've been a judge for over 40 years. You think I'm going to listen to you buying her a hamburger? That's not what this is about, sir.
It wasn't a hamburger.
Or a present. That's what people do. You told me, sir, that you were in an exclusive relationship until your girlfriend from Mexico resurfaced. That's what you told me. So buying each other presents is not an issue. Did you tell her?
Just like the plane tickets. I went to see her in college, and I didn't try to charge her for the plane ticket. She came to see me, and we never had that issue.
Are you talking about when you were in college?
No, I'm talking about the plane tickets. We never had an issue with me having to pay a plane ticket for her to come and see me.
I know that, but she said this one was different. This one ticket, not all the others when you visited. This one ticket, you said you wanted her to come for your birthday, and you said you would pay for the ticket.
She wanted to come, Your Honor. It wasn't I just wanted.
She said you said to her, I want you to come for my birthday. I'll pay for the ticket.
Because she had the time that she could go. Yes, probably so.
Okay. How much was the airline ticket?
$500.
Show me. $446.80.
But with bags, it was $500.
I don't care about the bags. Okay. Now, I want you to tell me about these baby items. That's the last thing on your menu.
But we didn't finish with the other.
We finished with it.
But he asked me for an additional $500 after that $1,500. 2 days later, I have that here too.
I'd like to see it, please. On Friday, August 20th, said, hey, baby, I had a question. Do you think you can make that loan in even $2,000? Because I need to get a few things done on the car. And she says, yes, but I can't get to the bank today. I can hit the ATM on my way home. Okay, that's fine.
Right. It wasn't a problem until I dumped her.
I don't care if it was a problem a lot. You said it was a loan.
Exactly. And when I told her I'd pay her back, she didn't hear from me, so then now we're here.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's a lot of mumbo-jumbo gibberish. Okay, $2446.88. Now tell me about the baby items.
So he asked me...
When?
Text message, that was...
When?
In July 8th, I'm sorry.
So this was before you loaned him the other money?
Yeah.
Okay, so in July...
He asked me, did I have Cash App? And I told him I did, because I thought, and I gave him my Cash App handle because I thought he was trying to pay me the airline ticket. But he said, no, the problem was that he didn't have Cash App, and he was trying to get his son's baby's mother some money and wanted to know if I could send it for him because I had Cash App.
How much money did he need for his son's
There were
girlfriend?
2 occasions. One was $60 and one was $50.
Do you recall that, Mr. Kelly?
I don't recall her not getting the money for that. I didn't do it because he wasn't in the area where I can give it to him, and I didn't have Cash App, and she sent it on the Cash App, but I gave her the cash for that.
And that was in July?
Yes, while I was still there.
He never gave me any cash.
I don't think so either, because then you borrowed all this money the next month. Yes, you lived together?
No.
Okay, well, it wasn't the ending that perhaps you all envisioned, but you borrowed this money from her, sir, and you have to return it. $25.56, judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Obviously, I'm happy.
Well, technically, yeah, it was a loan.
Judge saw through what he was trying to say. I don't know what he was trying to say.
But I spent money on her, and I never kept tabs on it.
Oh, my gosh, you just asked me for a lot of money.
I wasn't in love with her, and somebody else came back from the past.
No, I just want my money, and I told him that. I just want my money.
So I'm curious, Judge, the ratio of cases that you've seen of women loaning men money versus the other way around, men loaning women, their girlfriends, money.
I think I would have to go with 80-20.
I would agree.
This woman has somebody who's reasonable. He, on the other hand, she was okay until his girlfriend from Mexico resurfaced, and he broke up with her. I think he probably was hurt all the years from college that she broke up with him, because he talks about it.
Xin chào các bạn, chào mừng các bạn đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta tô màu một chú cá nóc. Màu này tô vào vây. Sẽ lấy màu xanh này vào chú cá nóc. Vậy là chúng ta đã hoàn thành xong bức tranh một chú cá nóc. Và đây là thành quả ngày hôm nay. Hẹn gặp lại các bạn ở những video tiếp theo.